Welcome, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well. Yeah. No, listen, I'm not here to trash talk anybody, man. That's not what I'm here to do. I was on a channel last night. Listen, uh, I was on a channel last night. I jumped on panel. They opened panel, and it was a panel. It was a channel that I'd never actually really listened to, uh, and um, and I saw an opportunity. I saw an opportunity to discuss my opinions on what has become of the Summer Wells case. Um, and uh, and I want to start off by saying that it was a channel. I think her name is Ziggy. She seemed really nice. I mean, she has Crama in her title. She doesn't make any bones about it. She doesn't seem to be like try to come off like some sort of investigator or some sort of sleuth who's cracking any cases. She's just she sees that there's drama in true crime because that's that's the difference between true crime and real crime, because true crime is just infested with drama. And it's making a mockery out of serious investigations, serious issues, uh, families that are hurting, missing people. Now, but you know, she seems to stay pretty neutral. Like, she might have her opinions. I'm sure she has her opinions, but for the most part, she just kind of lets people do their own thing. Which, uh, I don't know her channel very well. I'm not gonna blow a whole bunch of sunshine in her way. Just any quicker than I'm gonna trash talk her, because I don't know her. But she my first impression of her was good. She was very she was gracious in hosting me being on her panel. She was polite. She wasn't rude. She didn't take any cheap shots. Um, and and you know it was interesting. But the thing is, it seemed like I had, now, somebody that I will trash talk is Molly Golightly. I think what she's doing is reprehensible. I don't. And here's the thing: for so many times you've heard me on this channel call her stupid. I've called her stupid. I've called her an idiot. Called her all kinds of names that would insinuate that she is of a lower intelligence. Um, I don't know if I feel that way. I don't know if I feel that way. I think that she's very intelligent. I think that she knows exactly what she's doing. Now, to call her very intelligent is a stretch, but to imply that what she's doing is out of ignorance, uh, that would be ignorant on my part. That would be ignorant on your part. Don't make that mistake, because she knows exactly what she's doing. And what she's doing is she's making a fool out of her listeners. Mostly what she's doing is making a fool out of her listeners. She's sucking money out of her listeners. Um, she's playing off the hearts of people who have empathy for a missing child, yet they don't really follow these cases close enough to really to to realize what kind of an impact public uh, what kind of an impact public attention can have on cases like this, and how it can affect families. Um, and I don't think she's having a breakdown. I mean, in a way, but if she's having a breakdown, it's because she's being exposed and people are realizing what she's doing. Um, I mean, you don't refer to Summer Wells as a cash cow, like, straight up, and then expect to not get scrutiny over it. And then act like you're trying to do things for the good of doing them, because you're not. And it's quite obvious. And I'm saying, if you want to make money, make money. I'm not trying to tell nobody not to make no money. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. I'm not trying to hate on somebody for making money, but don't say that it's because you care about a missing child when every action that you take has nothing positive to contribute to finding this child and bringing her home safely, or even putting her in a safe place if she's found safely. Um, you know, if you don't feel her parents are fit, which, you know what, if I'm being totally honest, I don't think I do either. But I don't see any evidence to see that they're murderers. Again, people jumping to a conclusion, and I'm referring to Molly Golightly. I'm referring to Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Boob, and I like to call them the Scooby Boob gang because just anyway. Uh, and you know what? And I don't feel bad making fun of them, because these people have no heart at all whatsoever. Like, maybe they're lacking in brains, but they're not lacking in brains more than they're lacking in heart, because they're aware of what they're doing. They're aware that they had a financial plan, a financial business blueprint to get together, pull each other's subs together, and build on that by simply spending a few bucks and going to Rogersville, Tennessee, and trespassing on the Wells property, and uh, secretly recording conversations with law enforcement when they were gracious enough to even give them an interview or answer their questions. And I don't even think they agreed to an interview. I think they just simply were nice enough to grant them audience. But last night, what I did was I went on this panel on Ziggy's channel, and she seems like a nice person. She really does. I don't have anything negative to say about her. And I may have put her in an awkward position because I was not aware of who she's friends with on YouTube, who she's not friends with on YouTube. I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know that channel. And I may have put her in an awkward position by being on her panel and speaking how I did about Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Boob. And, and I don't regret it. And what we're going to do now that I have my audience here, instead of having to face, because I'm like that, you know what I mean? I like jumping on a panel sometimes. I haven't done it in a long time. It's been quite a while, but I definitely, from time to time, I do enjoy getting on a panel full of a bunch of opposing views, which I didn't even know they were opposing views. I am doing this to spread awareness. That's what I'm doing. I have a channel, I have a platform, and I feel the responsible thing to do with my platform is express my opinions if I feel strongly about them and spread awareness. Now, let me make sure this is. Okay, glad I checked that. Yeah, Caleb, that's pretty much what happens. And it's been a while. It's been a while. It was like I was in a bar, even though I was dead sober. It was like I was in a bar and I was like, man, it's been a long time since I picked a fight, But I didn't go up there to pick a fight. It just so happened that I ended up on panel with about 8 different people who were Molly Golightly supporters, and they got real offended. So we're gonna actually play at least my time on that panel, because apparently that was a 6-hour live. I wasn't on there for 6 hours, but we're gonna play some of that. Hold on a second. I mean, and you know what? I'm not even, you know, I don't have a problem with what she did at the laundry home. I don't have a problem with that, but I know what her motive was. Her motive was just to do it for clout. She doesn't care about Gabby Petito or justice for Gabby. She doesn't care about that. She doesn't care about anything. She cares about making money, and she cares about exploiting kids, missing kids in order to make money. And I'll say that over and over and over again. She seems to keep having this problem with that because people slowly are waking up to it and calling her out on it. And then she goes live for hours at a time going, I can't believe them. I can't believe them. They keep talking about me. And I know she doesn't talk in that accent. I'm just, but sorry, it's more like they keep talking about me. They keep talking. How dare you? How fucking dare you? We're going to listen. We're going to listen to. I didn't even look at the chat. I couldn't even see the chat.
So we're supposed to be cool, but.
So obviously they're talking about their own personal relationships with other YouTubers, which I don't give a shit about.
Jerry Springer.
But.
Oh, yeah. It can get like that sometimes.
Yeah.
So they're even admitting that it's become like Jerry
clips
Springer.
Of like fights on panel and stuff like that.
Yeah. Is that really the glare or?
Yeah, it's really me.
Okay.
No, the way I understand it was that I think I remember. Don't quote me on this because I it's been months, but the way that I remember it, at one point I think I remember Candace saying that their plan was to go to the water park, but the water park turned out to be too expensive or something to that effect. There was a reason why they didn't go to the water park, and because they weren't going to the water park, the boys didn't want to go, and they stayed behind, and that's why they went to the swimming hole. But I'm not 150% on that.
Which I'm still not 100%.
Like I said, it's been months since I even thought about that particular aspect of the case.
Yeah, she has said so many different things.
Yeah, I feel like they can't keep their story freaking straight. I don't know. But
I don't. My whole thing is, I don't think that. Okay, I'm not saying that they didn't have anything to do with. I mean, when it comes to missing kids cases, because obviously it's vital.
Yeah.
It's a missing child, but I'm of the opinion that we follow law enforcement's lead on how to handle things like that. And when they're saying things like, everyone is a suspect, but we don't have any particular person of interest yet. So when I hear things like that, I think, well, I'm not saying that I think that Candace and Dawn are innocent of anything necessarily. But I'm not going to be quick. I said that very clearly, didn't I? Because so far, there's really no evidence.
I just said it very clearly, did I not? I don't necessarily think. I'm not saying that I necessarily think that Dawn and Candace are innocent of anything. I didn't say. I was very clear when I just said that, did I not? Wait till this picks up. This is going to pick up, guys. It's going to get fun.
That they had anything to do
because words are going to be put in my mouth by like 8 different people coming up.
Summer's disappearance. There's a lot of evidence to indicate that they're questionable parents, to say the least, for sure. But to say that they had anything to do directly with Summer's disappearance,
questionable parents, to say the least, were my words, guys.
I mean, literally nothing. And I've been following this case since June. I mean, I live here. I live an hour away from Rogersville. I live in Knoxville, so I've been following this case closely, and I just don't see anything yet,
Well, yeah, there's no if there was evidence that it was them, they'd probably be in jail, but I just think that they do some things that are very questionable and doesn't seem like what parents do who have a missing child, like playing tricks about, in these hoaxes and
Yeah, they just have like
Oh,
really
they have
weird
their
behavior.
behavior. Yeah, their behaviors.
See, now I didn't say this then, but if I'm being totally honest, they're getting harassed by the whole world, right? Don and Candace are being harassed by the whole world. Is it so crazy? Is it so wrong for them to just troll the whole world back? Like, is that such a bad thing? You know what I mean? Now, I didn't say that then. I didn't say that last night, but well, that's really kind of how I feel about it. Like, why not just troll the whole world back? You know, screw them.
Definitely questionable to say the least. But what I'm saying is there's no direct evidence to indicate that they had anything to do with Summer's disappearance. There's not even any real statement saying that they had anything to do with Summer's disappearance. And my whole thing is also something that I've said a bunch of times is, I mean, just look at how sloppy they are. I mean, Summer disappeared without a trace. You're going to tell me people that are this sloppy committed the perfect crime, you know, and have managed to keep up with the lies this whole time without slipping up, without law enforcement finding any evidence, nothing. You see what I'm saying?
If they were involved, I'm sorry. I think if they were involved, I think they had some help.
Yeah, there's always
but I mean,
there's always
wouldn't there have been something?
The mindset. This is the thing. The mindset is not what happened to Summer. The mindset, the base of the mindset with these people is always Don and Candace had something to do with it, and I'm going to say whatever I have to say. I'm going to tell myself whatever I have to tell myself to make that make sense. I'm going to plant the narrative, root the narrative that Don and Candace are behind Summer's disappearance. I'm gonna root that narrative in my head, and I'm going to say whatever it takes to make that make sense. I'm going to tell myself, and then I'm going to say it out loud, and I'm going to say it in a conversation and or a debate. This is always the mindset. It's fascinating.
Point now, granted, a lot of people, like, I mean, those of us who follow crime cases on YouTube, you know, a lot of us get to a point where we're like, why is it taking so long when we know somebody's guilty? And we're like, why is it taking so long to arrest them? You know, it's like, we have to keep in mind, we have to understand that it takes time to collect evidence. Like, what law enforcement's job to do, a very small part of it is to actually arrest someone. What their real job.
It really annoys me, guys, because you guys hear me say what I'm about to say right here. You hear me say this all the time. And I got to be honest with you. It annoys me that I feel like I always have to explain this because people don't seem to get this. People don't seem to have any clue as to how the law works and how the justice system works. They don't seem to have any idea. Like, they seem to equate the court of public opinion to being how the law should work. And then when it's convenient, and you'll see this later in this conversation, when it's convenient, when I say, no, we can't do that, that's not exactly the right way to do things. As soon as I say that, they say, oh, well, we're not a court of law. You know, the same rules don't apply to us. We're just the public. We don't have to, it doesn't have to be a innocent until proven guilty type situation. We're the public. We don't follow those rules. We don't have to live by those rules. It's always whatever's convenient.
Collect enough evidence that's going to get them convicted in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt, where they prove their case and it can't be disproven. They cannot be any doubt created by the defense. So they have to create an airtight case, and that takes a lot of time. You have to collect a lot of evidence. So that takes time. So for all we know, they're right now building a case against them. But I mean, for YouTubers to go to take a trip to Tennessee from God knows wherever they're from, in a group, like they're a super group of YouTubers, and basically
Somalio lightly. God forbid you insult the Queen Big Juicy. or question her methods in any way, shape, or form in this community. It's fascinating to me.
In my opinion, make their investigation more difficult. I mean, the thing with the walking all over the Don's parents' grave, that was disgraceful to me. That was horrible. I mean, first of all, first of all, I'm looking at that as not a desecration of Don's parents' graves. I'm looking at that as a desecration of Summer's grandparents' graves. I'm looking at it from her perspective, as a disrespect to her. So that's number one.
Right?
I don't think they touched the grave. I think they just kind of like they videotaped it.
Okay, but they're still walking all over the area and everything. And if you think they're sitting there and implying that Summer's body is all crunched up in this little
even going over there and filming it and implying that there is a 5-year-old little girl, her dead body like crunched up into this little weird space, like they did it in some sort of sick ritualistic manner, which is what they not only implied, they basically said that's what they think it was. That in and of itself is disrespectful to Summer's grandparents and their memory. That in and of itself is disrespectful to her and Summer's grandparents, who had nothing to do with any of this.
Structure that was built over the grave, right? So
I mean, for all we don't know, though. You know what I mean? We don't.
Well,
we
and
don't know
that brings me to my next point. Since you don't know, why the hell do you think it's a good idea to walk all over it? You know what I'm saying? Just report it to law enforcement and have the professionals that are trained to collect evidence, instead of possibly contaminating the area, have law enforcement look it over.
I think they did
have them check
report
it out.
it. I'm not 100%, but I think they did report it.
See, everything has got to be like an argument. This is now, whoever this person is, I've never spoken to her in my life, but whoever she is everything she's saying is coming from a place of defending Marissa and her actions, because she has this blind, weird following of whatever she does can't be, because, you know, I mean, she was big juicy on the on Wife Swap. So, you know, she couldn't have done anything wrong.
I think they just wanted to document it, that they were there. But I think I heard one of them say that
I wouldn't have gone near it. I wouldn't have gone near it if I honestly thought that Summer's body was in there. I wouldn't have even gone near it. I mean, because it's not my job. It's not my place. If I actually want closure, and I actually want justice, and I actually want answers for what happened to Summer, I'm not going to even remotely risk there being any contamination of that area. Not even a little bit. So why would they do that?
In my opinion, I don't even think she's there.
No, I know she's not there. I mean, I don't know it, but I would bet my eyes on it.
My opinion, I don't think that she's there. The fact that Marissa even had the power to make people question that is disturbing. The fact that Marissa has the kind of influence, and that there are people, a mass amount of people that listen to her, right, that would even consider the possibility that she would even be in there, is mind-blowing to me. That proves how idiotic her supporters are. And yeah, those are the people I'm calling stupid. Okay? I think Marissa is a complete and total unscrupulous asshole. 100%. But I think that her listeners, and I think that she thinks that her listeners, are complete and utter morons, and takes full advantage of them.
I mean, that would be a stupid move, you know.
It was, and it was. I just thought it was disgraceful. That's like, just look at me. I have a real problem with people who,
like, and this is a member of this channel, right? They're like, are you friends with the Wells with big red question marks and big red flags? Are my friends with the Wells? I got to be friends with the Wells to use common sense because I'm not going to go and crucify them based on hearsay. You know what I mean? Come on.
Who think that they're investigators when they're not. There are professionals that are trained, that went through years of training to find a missing 5-year-old little girl. You know what I mean? These are the people you leave this up to. And if they tell you to not muddy the waters, and the worst thing you can do is start spreading rumors on social media and making things up. That's one of the worst things you can do because it interferes with their job. Well, then you shouldn't do it. That's just my opinion.
And
you know,
I mean, I don't want
it's
to
common sense.
discredit your opinion or anything, but since they have been down there, they have stirred things up a little bit. I know that TBI has come out with another
There's
statement.
a problem with that.
The neighbors are going and making reports to TBI. That's what I heard. And also
from who? Them?
Exactly.
No,
I mean,
like,
they're out there. They're out there campaigning just to get Don arrested for anything that they can get Don arrested for, and it's like, why? For what? How's that going to get Summer found any faster? Like, it's more. It seems like a more of an attack on Don and Candace rather than the focus on finding Summer.
And I think some people, think that way, and other people think that maybe it's just putting some pressure where.
Now, these comments, I got to read. Somebody named Whitney Kissel is saying, the Glairer, who cares what it takes to get her name out there? Well, it matters because you don't know if her parents are grieving, are worried, just because they're not doing it in the way that you would be doing it. Well, I mean, you're putting their name out there, but you're not putting her name out there. Like Cherry and Ames are putting her name out there and that's why I keep highlighting it. I'm putting her name out there. What I'm not doing is trash talking and trying to stir up drama to make money. That's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to get her name out there. I'm trying to get the focus out there. I'm trying to use my platform in a responsible manner. And then another comment here, and some people were being respectful. Carol G said, what do you think happened? Just wondering your opinion, which I'll get to actually, but you guys are no strangers to my opinion.
Whether it's on them or whoever was involved, that they know that these people are in town, they're talking to the police. And I think that was more of their intention. I don't think they're intentionally trying to be disrespectful.
I don't think they're intentionally trying to do anything except get clicks and views. But what I do think is they're careless and inadvertently interfering with an investigation. Now, also, another thing is why would one of them secretly record a conversation with law enforcement when they were gracious enough to grant them an audience and speak to them? Because you're not going to tell me that they had permission to record them when the camera, her phone, was pointed at her Louis Vuitton purse the entire time. There's no way you're going to tell me that, because if you're trying to get content and you had permission to get that content, well, you would get good shots, wouldn't you? You would point it directly at the law enforcement officer who's speaking to you, so you can get a clear statement and you can see his lips as he's talking. And get the right and get that information delivered clearly. Would you not?
Now this is funny because there's a comment here. There's a comment here because you guys can't read it, but there's a and somebody says they agree with me. That's nice. Somebody says Sandra Summers, who's also a member of this channel, of Ziggy's channel, saying Glairer is wanting an interview with Don and Candace. I heard, and Candice, sorry, she doesn't even know her name. Glairer is wanting an interview with Don and Candace. I heard on a channel they told him no. So this is what I'm talking about. Gossip. Just gossip. People will just make things up and spread gossip. And the problem with a lot of these channels is they'll pick that up and be like, oh, I heard that too. And then they'll take it like fact. And these are real people involved in these cases. This is why this is dangerous. I never once, ever once said to anybody that I contacted Don and Candace. As a matter of fact, the first time I contacted Don and Candace was yesterday. And I told no one about it until now. A
content creator?
Right. I mean, they all had their phones on. I think that they had permission to record. I don't know the stipulations. They didn't clarify if that was.
But if
that
you
was
didn't
on-
have
if they had
if you don't
permission or
know
not,
anything,
but that
why
would
are
be
you up here
something
defending their
that
actions?
would be good to ask them, you know?
And if you didn't have permission to record,
Mhm.
then why would you risk it? Why would you risk that source of information? Because after the fact, what's funny is after the fact, then they get interviewed by the local news station there, right? There's this little news piece where they're featured, and then the news reporter states that Sheriff Lawson from the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department declined to even give an interview, declined to even comment. Because, I mean, if he endorsed this and he supported it, why would he decline? Even though he's been very open and speaking to that news source openly for months.
Yeah, I have my own opinions about that sheriff.
Okay, so now we're gonna trash talk the sheriff. Now the sheriff is in question, right? Because things aren't going their way because they think that they have no evidence, right? This is what I love. This is the logic that I'm dealing with right here, guys. And at this point, like, you know, I don't expect to like get through to anybody or anything. I feel just compelled to make my point and make it clear. But this is the logic that I'm dealing with when I'm, you know, there's no way that at this point that I feel like I'm going to actually get through to this person because this person is not a person of logic, not at all whatsoever. The person I'm speaking to, Ziggy, I don't know. She's keeping quiet and she's just kind of letting me have at it with this J. Marie person, whoever she is. But so I don't have an opinion on her as far as this goes because she stayed quiet the whole time and just kind of let everybody kind of go at it. But this J. Marie person clearly is just wanting to argue for the sake of arguing. She doesn't want to have a conversation. She's being respectful, okay? She's not being insulting, but she's being respectful, but she's naysaying anything that she can possibly naysay. And then she wants to say that she has her opinions about this Sheriff Lawson, like as if she's some sort of expert in anything, because so far, she hasn't stated anything that she even believes is fact. She's at least been self-aware enough to say, you know, don't quote me on this, not 100%. I heard this and I heard that. That's usually how she's wording everything here in this little debate that we're having. Right? So, but then she states with her expert opinion, she has her opinions of Sheriff Lawson, somebody who is an elected official. He's an elected official and he's a law enforcement agent, clearly a seasoned one. And she's questioning him. Who is she to question him? What kind of experience in law enforcement does she have? What type of experience in investigations does she have to question a seasoned law enforcement agent, a seasoned law enforcement elected official? This is the kind of logic I'm dealing with in this conversation.
I think
that's not all I'm saying. I feel like,
yeah.
as YouTubers, we can talk about these cases and we can do it responsibly, and we can actually help. But if we're doing it from a perspective of just trying to get content and make money doing it, and we're self-serving, and that's our first priority over actually.
Hold on, let me ask this comment here. If Don and Candace had told the truth from the very off, none of this would be happening. I really wish that you could tell me exactly what they lied about, that you know that they lied about. I'm not saying they did. I'm not saying that they didn't lie. I'm not saying that everything that they said is the truth. I'm saying, what do you know that they were dishonest about? I'd like to know that. And don't tell me it's because their stories have been inconsistent, because that could be chalked up to the fact that they're just addicts, drunks, you know? They don't remember things correctly because they're just drunks. That's a proven fact. One thing that's a proven fact here, not that they're liars, but that they're drunks. That is a proven fact. So their stories being inconsistent doesn't necessarily mean that they're liars. It doesn't. But I bet you anything that you can't sit here in my chat and tell me exactly what they lied about. I guarantee you that you can't. You just peg them as liars because you heard on a YouTube channel that heard on another YouTube channel that they were liars. That I guarantee you.
Trying to find this little girl and get this little girl found and know our role, stay in our lane on how we get that done. If our focus is on that, we can actually help, and we can actually be taken seriously by a larger amount of people, not just the few thousand people that follow crime cases on YouTube. We could actually be more. We could be actually be taken more seriously, you know, as sources of information. But there's those of us who are just self-serving and don't really care, and don't seem to do any real research on these cases.
And let me reiterate on my point that I'm making here. What I'm saying here, in summary, is that if YouTubers behave more responsibly, because I've said this on this channel a million times, if YouTubers took spreading information responsibly and stuck to facts and speculated responsibly, right? We as YouTubers could be taken more seriously by a larger mass audience, is what I just said here. The reason why it's such a limited audience, and I'm telling you right now, the limited audience that Molly Golightly has is consisted of stupid fucking people. Yeah, I said that. Ignorant, stupid, prejudgmental fucking people. And what's ironic about that is these are people that are judging Don and Candace for being the same way that they are, which I find completely and totally ironic. These are people very quick to jump to conclusions. Paddywhack, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. So what's really funny is if Molly Golightly wasn't such a greedy shitbag asshole, she would have an even more broad audience. She would be making more money. Since she's out to get money, if she actually stuck to facts, did some research, and spread information that was not misinformation, she would make more money. That's the irony here.
Well, we'll just go down there, you know, and we'll just start waving our phones around and knocking on people's doors. I mean, that's irresponsible. This is a real child that's missing. This isn't some character in some TV movie.
Said,
you know?
Well said. Well said. Bullhorn Boob wants to lay her to rest. I want her found safe. Now, and the rationale behind that logic is is, well, even Dawn and Candace, they don't even believe that she's alive, which is a big red flag. No, man. They just don't, they're not hopeful people. These are people that have lived through tragedy. They've already lived through a missing person in their life, right? They've already lived through tragedy. They're not hopeful people. So just because they're not hopeful people, I can't be hopeful. Because they're not hopeful people, I can't be hopeful to find Summer safe. I realize that's her parents, and I realize that some might feel like it's their responsibility. Wow, Lisa Mack, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. Very generous. Thank you. Why is it wrong for the rest of us to be hopeful? So you're going to trash talk Don and Candace, but when it's convenient for you, you're going to follow their lead. When it's convenient to justify your own behavior, you're going to follow their lead. Your excuse is going to be, well, they're not hopeful. I mean, we see this constantly. And on and on. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
But that's just how I feel about it.
No, I love this in the chat. The giggling bird says, the glare, you have never had anyone missing close to you, obviously. What does that mean? What does that have anything to do with anything that I'm saying? If I'm sitting here and how is that an argument? If this is the kind of stupidity that I'm talking about, the kind of complete and total ignorance and stupidity that I'm talking about. This person is already judging me, saying you've never had anybody missing close to you, obviously. I don't know if that person has. And I feel bad if they have. I'm sorry that they went through that. Panda, come on. Thank you. Jeez. And I do feel bad. I'm sorry if they have. Hey, Jolene, get away from there. But the problem with that is, if they were actually paying attention, I'm the one that's actually defending people who have missing people in their lives. The issue with that ridiculous statement is I'm the one that's actually defending people with missing people in their lives. And then I'm being trashed as, well, obviously you've never had anybody in your life missing before. What? So I'm the one that's showing empathy towards these people, yet I mean, that's pure projection. It's pure projection.
Yeah, and I mean,
topic because I'm cool with all this. I don't want to like cause any problems between myself and anybody else, but as long as people protest, like.
And that's Ziggy talking there. And I don't blame her for feeling that way. She's built relationships on YouTube. I'm not trying to mess up her relationships on YouTube. And if she gets trashed for having me on her channel and speaking my opinion, and then they make it seem like my opinion reflects on her opinion, well, then those are just shitty people, which I already feel that they are anyway. But for, the fact that she even has to be worried about it concerns me. Why can't you just have a channel and have anybody you want on panel and let them hash it out? Let them express their opinions. I think that that's great that she did that. I have nothing negative to say about Ziggy because I don't know her, but all I know is my experience with her, and my experience with her directly last night was nothing but positive. So I have nothing negative to say about Ziggy.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, I guess. I mean,
I could see where he's getting, his opinions from. I could see that aspect of it. I see all aspects of it. And I see also, in my opinion, that I don't think they're intentionally, trying to stir it up like that.
I agree with you. I don't think it's intentional at all, but I think it's careless. That's what I'm saying. I think it's careless. And when it comes to a life and death situation, which this is, you can't afford to be careless. You need to leave certain things up to the professionals and let them handle it. Now, I get if you're professionally trained, like there's other YouTube creators that are former law enforcement officers. They're criminal profilers. There's, and even some of them, I'm just some of their tactics I find some questionable at times. But again, I'm not a former law enforcement officer. I try to know what my role is and what my place is and see what I can actually do to help. And the best way for me to do that is to follow the advice of professionals who are trained in that aspect. I feel like that's the most
and what I meant by that was Sheriff Lawson specifically stated back in June that what Molly Golightly, what Bullhorn Boob, what they're doing is exactly what we should not be doing. It is exactly what he asked us not to do. That is the worst thing that they could do to interfere with the investigation, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Thing to do.
I think that anybody who touches this case gets criticized in one way or another. Chris McDonough got criticized for it. The protesters are getting criticized for it. Everybody. Because everybody has different opinions and they're only seeing it from their angle, and like nobody's really looking at all aspects of it, what their intentions are.
All right. So Dobby Ween, it was the fact that you kept talking over people. You weren't listening. People were begging her to kick you off the panel. You were speaking as if it was your channel. Very argumentative. No, I was speaking and I was actually defending myself. What's really funny, and we're going to get into this. I'm really glad that you brought this up. We're going to get into it because I was the one that was being attacked. I didn't attack anyone on that panel. I was being attacked. And I'm not going to just sit there. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not going to just sit there and let things get twisted and I'm going to get ganged up on by a bunch of Crama people on a panel. That doesn't happen. I don't allow that. I've been on these panels before. I know how they work. I know how these people think, and they think in droves. They think in mass. They get in concert with each other and find a target, and I was that target. And I wasn't about to let that happen. So yes, I was going to speak loudly and defend myself. And for you to say that I was out of line by speaking up and trying to talk over 8 people who are trying to talk over me and put words in my mouth, because yeah, there's only 3 other people on this panel now, but in a few minutes, there's going to be a whole panel full of people. And I'm going to find myself completely defending myself against them all. So don't sit here and act like I was up there being the aggressor and attacking people, because I was not. And I'm proving it right now. That's part of the reason why I'm playing this.
Oh.
Fair enough. Okay, so going back to the last person that was on panel, I can't remember her name, but the first lady that got on panel, she made a really, really valid point that resonated with me, that's been resonating with me ever since I started talking about these cases. And her whole thing is, what if they're wrong about Don and Candace? What if they're wrong? You don't have any evidence. Can you imagine being a parent? Can you imagine being a parent? Now, no matter what your lifestyle is, no matter what your choices are, I mean, there's parents that are in prison for doing horrible things. Does that mean they don't love their kids? You know what I'm saying? So is it fair to automatically crucify these people for something that you have no evidence of? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, what if what if you're wrong about them? Is it right to take that chance and just automatically just judge them and make them out to be guilty of a crime that you don't even know whether or not the crime even took place, because law enforcement's still entertaining the possibility that you wandered off? So, I mean, is
The
it
thing
right?
is, though, if
Is
these
it okay?
people,
Is that excusable? If they turn out to be wrong, is that excusable?
if Summer's parents are completely 100% innocent, they are the weirdest freaking people ever. Like,
Okay,
you know what I
so
mean? Like,
should
they
they
have
be judged for
literally,
murdering
And they're
should they
no,
be
they
judged for
have
murdering a
literally
child
played
for being weird?
pranks on people.
Now,
They've,
so
you know what I
far,
mean? Like,
Okay.
while their
I-
daughter,
I want to be clear about something because I want to do this in real time, guys. I want you guys to follow on. Just keep following and keep following, okay? So far, type of one, if you've heard me actually accuse anybody on this panel of anything. Now, I feel like so far I've only talked about Molly Golightly and what she did going to Rogersville and what she's done so far. Now, so far I don't know anybody on this panel. So type of one if you've heard me actually attack anyone on this panel. Type of two if you're still with me. Now, I admit I'm definitely targeting Molly Golightly. Definitely targeting the Scooby Boob gang. Absolutely 100%. But I have not in my I just want to make sure I don't have selective hearing, people. And be honest, but if you have heard me actually target anyone yet on this panel, please specify how I did. And I'll address it. And I'll admit to it if I did. Yeah, but what if they are, Dobie Ween? What if they are? That's the whole point. What if they are? And I'm going to actually get to that. And you heard me on the panel, which is really funny because you're here in my chat right now. You're here in my chat right now. And and you just basically acknowledged the fact that I was in that chat because you were really quick to criticize how I handled myself in that chat last night, correct? So, and yet here you are right now, and it's like you didn't hear anything that I said last night. But we're gonna get to all that. We're gonna get to all that.
I get it, but should they be judged for murdering their own child because they're weird and play pranks on people? Does that justify it?
you know, the thing for me was, and it really, okay, first it was the phone call that, the prank phone call to Mary. But what really did it for me was, you know how when, parents have missing children, they go on and they plead to the kidnapper or whoever, and these parents are on YouTube. One of them's high, almost passed out, and the other one.
Oh, I agree with
on
you.
the toilet
Oh yeah, their behavior on YouTube has been ridiculous. I agree with
while they're reading the plea
You just heard me agree with her,
for
right?
their daughter.
Everybody just hear that? I just completely agreed with her as far as how Don and Candace's behavior has been on social media. I absolutely agreed with her.
You know what I mean? And another creator is reading it for them, and they're
But
just acting like that.
does that make them guilty of a crime that we don't even know took place?
That
Because
makes
we
me
don't know
pretty
that that crime
suspicious.
took place.
I mean, sure, it makes
And
you
that's
suspicious, but suspicion doesn't
right. I mean,
show
I don't
guilt,
think
does
anybody
it?
thinks that they're 100% guilty. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody has, like, they're speculating,
Don't you think at the very least,
I mean,
though, the glare?
I hear that, but I hear that a lot. I hear, oh well, it's okay to speculate, but you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, it's just an excuse for making their lives that much more difficult, contributing to their lives being that much more difficult. You see what I'm saying?
Can you guys hear me?
It's always a justification.
I can hear you.
Okay. At the very least, we know that they are neglectful and abusive to their kids, right? Or
Yeah.
How do we know they're abusive?
Well, why did their kids get taken away?
I
All
mean,
of
there's a
them.
Why did
number of
they?
reasons why their kids are. Do
They
you
have
have a piece of paper that says
I mean,
why
they
their
don't take
kids were
the kids
taken away?
away because of internet freaking
Don-
drama. If you're one of those, because
Don lost his first two set of children.
Very, very, very important here, people. This is where facts are important. and rumors. This is where rumors and hearsay need to be separated from facts. And that's all I'm trying to do. People keep saying, well, you're talking over everyone. You're talking over everyone. What I'm trying to do is control the difference between rumors and speculation, rumors and hearsay, and facts. That's all I was trying to do, because she says that the kids were taken away because they were abusive. But there's no actual hard evidence of that. Now, there's a whole bunch of reasons why people take their kids out of their home environment. There's a whole bunch of reasons. Now, do I think that they provide a detrimental environment for their children? Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Do I feel like the kids were unjustifiably taken out of the home? No, I don't. I'm actually, even though I have my issues with CPS and family services and how they handle a lot of cases, I still give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to cases, in cases that I don't know about. So, well, that's my point. See, again, you obviously were there last night, but you weren't listening, Dobie Ween. Obviously, you weren't listening, because I was also saying I don't have any facts. It's not a question of who has facts and who doesn't. It's a question of acknowledging the fact that none of us have enough facts, and therefore we cannot start throwing stones at people and judging them and accusing them of crimes before we have all the facts. That's my point. So you're sitting here and you're having a different conversation than I'm having. You're over here and the rest of us are over here. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not sitting here acting like I have the facts. That's the difference between us. I'm saying we don't have the facts. None of us have the facts. So therefore, we shouldn't be judging people, and we shouldn't be accusing them of things when we don't have facts to back them up. You wouldn't want people accusing you of anything if they didn't have facts to back them up, would you?
Candace lost her first two set of children. CPS has been involved with this family for years,
Understood. I mean, once CPS
I know
is
what
involved,
you mean. That doesn't make them murderers. It doesn't make them murderers, but at the very
it doesn't even make them abusive. It means that they don't live up to the standards. Like, I'm not excusing their behavior, because they clearly have substance abuse issues. Clearly. Mm-hmm. But that is enough to make them unfit parents. Doesn't necessarily mean they were abusive. See what I'm saying? I'm not saying they weren't. I'm saying we don't know.
This continually was being attempted to be steered into a Don and Candace bashing session, but I was not about to just let that happen, which is partly why I was taken as somebody who was talking over everyone, because I was just not about to let that happen, because it would have completely and totally beaten and defeated the purpose of the point I was trying to make while I was up there. And I wasn't about to let that happen. I was defending my point. So, and my point being was, you're not going to sit here and bash these people without facts. That was my point the entire time. And I stand by it now, even right now. So they were getting frustrated because I was just not allowing that to happen. I was not allowing them to take this into a direction of, let's just bash Don and Candace. I wasn't just going to let them do that. I'm sorry.
Oh,
and I don't know whose channel it is.
Yeah.
I love how
I mean, there are people coming forward. I don't know
channel,
if
you don't get to do that.
Do you watch the show?
I absolutely get to do that. I absolutely get to do that. Because you brought me up there to express my opinion. You brought me up there to state and speak my mind. And so, yeah, just because it's your channel and just because it's you running the panel, well, you're not going to bait me. You can do that to the rest of everybody there if that was what Ziggy was trying to do. But I don't think she was actually trying to do that. I think that she had her opinions and she was just trying to make her opinions. But other people were getting upset because they wanted to hear a Don and Candace bashing fest. Everybody's on that bandwagon. And because I wasn't letting that happen, they were getting frustrated with me because I was making valid points that they couldn't argue with logic. They were getting frustrated with me.
No, I just subscribed.
Okay, there you gotta catch up with the show. There is
I'm sure he's heard a lot of people have came forward and told of their experiences. Unless you're wanting.
Oh, I've heard all the rumors. Yeah, I've heard all the rumors.
Oh no,
Sure,
there's
but
people that have come forward that know these people.
What about
that know the children?
Well, they say they do. That's hearsay. That's called hearsay. That doesn't mean that it's true.
There's text messages, emails, pictures. You really got to catch up with the show.
Okay.
Like everybody comes on Ziggy.
Oh no.
Now, see, it's and there's actually some people in the chat that actually agree with me, which is nice. Which I wasn't looking at the chat last night. This is the first time I'm actually looking at the chat while I was on panel, because I don't know if you've ever used StreamYard from your phone. It's really difficult to look at the chat while you're on StreamYard from your phone. But again, now another person was brought on panel. Okay. Now this tells me that okay, let's bring up more people, because this dude, he keeps making more sense. We can't have that. So let's bring up more people. Okay. He already shot this person down. He shot this person down. Let's bring up somebody else, which is how you run a drama channel. That's cool. I'm not I'm not faulting her for that. It's just that, it just didn't work in the favor of the people that I was shooting down.
Oh,
okay. So emails and pictures of what? Emails and pictures of what?
Emails,
exactly.
Picture, the text messages from Jenna, right?
Who's Jenna?
You have all
Who's
that
Jenna?
stuff, Ziggy. Huh?
Who's Jenna?
Jenna was a friend of Candace's. There's a lady who is involved with the boys. She has come forward.
And what do these text messages and emails say?
No, I mean, it's just like,
see, okay, right there.
people
right there. Why are you bringing up these text messages and emails when you can't even explain the contents of them to me? Why are you using that to win an argument when you don't even know the contents of these emails and text messages? You're just saying they're there. Okay. And
been around the parents.
see, I was asking questions, people. I was asking questions, and I was asking honest questions, and I was asking direct questions. And I was giving them, by doing so, I was giving each person who was trying to debate with me on this issue, I was giving them an opportunity to completely shut me down. Because I didn't know what was on those. I don't know what's on those text messages and emails. I honestly don't know. So you know what I mean? So I gave them every opportunity to shut me down. At one point, they almost did. But good thing that I am a fact-driven person, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon.
It's when they.
Now,
I mean, the
mind
kids
you,
definitely.
I couldn't even see how many people are on panel yet.
So if you're saying that,
I didn't even look at my phone yet.
I mean, I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just trying to make a point. Like, is it fact? Is it proof? Or is it just somebody
that are kind of close to these families and stuff, and that many are saying that? I guess, I mean, if you don't want to, I mean, it's awfully.
I mean, from being on the show and seeing all the text messages from between Candace and other people, and then
what
her
do they
friends
say?
and like talking to other people about what's going on, and they're comparing stories and stuff like that. I believe most of it. I mean, a lot of it is hearsay, but the
Yeah.
the ones who have the actual evidence, I believe them.
But,
You know?
but when it comes to a child being kidnapped or going missing or being murdered, or a person be in this situation, whether it be an adult or child, doesn't matter. You don't think that it's dangerous to jump to conclusions based on hearsay without proof? I mean, you don't think that's irresponsible?
Right. I mean, like, for people like law enforcement to jump to conclusion, I mean, we're just viewers of YouTube. You know what I mean? We have our speculations,
No,
we have our opinions. You know, we're just.
But you're powerful. You're powerful because it's still making their lives more difficult. It's still making their lives extremely
Right,
difficult.
but say
And it
they
turns out
are
they're innocent.
guilty.
You're going to
Right.
be okay with that? That you contribute to this?
No, I won't be okay with it. But if they are
That's all I'm saying.
guilty,
That's
it
all I'm
is
saying.
putting the pressure on. You know what I mean? Because
But-
there are.
But you're willing to take that chance. You're willing to
Right.
sacrifice the peace in their life on the chance that they might be guilty, is what you just told me, basically. On the chance
I mean,
they might be
but
guilty.
they're doing it to themselves.
This
They
is
come on
where people get mad. This is where I start to piss people off. And what's funny is, pay close attention, people, because at no point did I accuse them of anything. These are people that are saying to me, hey, I believe this. It might be hearsay and speculation. You heard her straight up say that. It might be hearsay. It might not even be true, but I believe it. And all I did was ask questions as to, do you think it's responsible to do that? Spread that information that could very well be misinformation. Do you think that that's responsible? And then all of a sudden, because I asked that simple, logical question, I'm attacking someone.
to YouTube too. They talk with YouTubers.
Oh, no. I agree with you there. Yeah. They definitely make things more difficult for themselves. They could just stay the hell off YouTube, but that's not going to stop people from making speculations. Because at the same time, there's also another side of the coin of them going on YouTube channels and posting things on social media, which is they have nobody to defend them. So they're going to defend themselves. And they come from a certain lifestyle where they're just going to, they're going to stand up and say something. You know what I mean? These are the type of people that are going to just sit back and go, oh, let people talk. I don't care. That's not where I live here in Tennessee. Trust me, I see this. This is not, this is not the type of lifestyle that breeds that type of person. That's just, hey, you know what? Let people talk. Let them think what they want. No, they're like, I can't believe that all these thousands of people are saying these horrible things about us. Now, I'm not saying that that's actually the case, but that's their rationale for going on YouTube channels. It could just be that they're just attention whores. Who knows? But at least their rationale is that they go on YouTube channels and post things on social media.
Bye, Dobie Ween. Thanks for stopping by and not making any sense. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
In self-defense for accusations coming to them. So I'm just saying that's a possibility too. And we don't have any proof that that's not the case.
Right.
Because people were jumping to conclusions immediately. People are jumping to conclusions right off the bat. And they do this with every case. With every case, everybody, there's always going to be a whole wave of people that are going to say the husband did it, or the mom did it, or the dad did it. They jump to that right off the bat without hearing any evidence, without anything. Oh, look at him. Look at his body language. Look at his
And
face.
I think that's why statistically, statistically, there's a higher probability of the spouse, one of the spouses or the other doing it, or something like that. But
what's really funny is that I've talked about this stuff, that every point that they bring up, I've already countered so many times, but we'll let her make the point.
You're right.
I don't think in this case that everybody jumped right on the parents, because there were times when people believed Don and not Candace, and then Candace and not Don, and then didn't believe that they did anything at all. You know, people were all over the place. But then
No,
what
I mean,
made them look bad was going on camera high and drunk.
The same split that was then is the same split that there is
See,
now.
they kept going back. She wants to keep going back to them being high and drunk only because I agreed with her on them being high and drunk. But she wants somehow for me to jump on justifying accusing them and being, well, not accusing them, but but understanding and empathizing with people who are accusing them of doing something terrible to their daughter, God knows what, or being behind her disappearance in one, or being involved in her disappearance even in some way, shape, or form, because they go on camera high and drunk. I won't do that because it's not logical. It doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to do that. So she keeps going back to that, to the being high and drunk on camera. I've been high on drunk on camera. Everybody knows that. I've done that. Never killed a kid. Never. Don't plan on it either. So what's your point here? What's your logic behind that? Guess what? Molly Golightly's been high and drunk on camera many times. I don't think she's killed a kid. Don't think she plans to either.
Now, as far as opinion of whether or not they did anything or not, because I know that most people, at least my listeners feel that they're definitely irresponsible in the way they've been behaving, but it's not proof of guilt of any particular crime.
Yeah, I mean, there's no evidence at all.
But
and that's
so
why
I'm saying,
I think that if they are innocent, you know, they're innocent, but if they're guilty, they have some kind of help because there's absolutely no evidence. She just vanished.
I mean,
what is
right.
it? Or I'm sorry, I was
So
Annie.
So is it responsible to jump to the conclusion that they had help either? You know, I mean, because we don't know that happened either. Could just be that we had nothing to do with it. Could just be that they had nothing to do with it.
And that's just speculation. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Right. What I'm saying is, all I'm saying is that it even though the statistics prove, and I agree with you on this because I follow these cases too, the statistics do dictate that it's the first person that they look at, because that would usually be the first person that would have motive, is the person closest to the victim, right?
Right.
So that's usually the case, right? But the thing is because it's such a serious thing, to go and start placing judgment on these people and do it publicly in a high-profile case where people do it in masses, that's to do that based on that statistic is super irresponsible, because it can ruin lives, especially if it's somebody who's innocent. Because the other side to that coin is, if that person is innocent, that's the person that's missing and grieving the most. So on top of that, you're also ruining their life on top of the fact that they're missing the person that they love the most and grieving over the fact that they're no longer
They don't
around.
act like they're grieving.
That's why it's irresponsible.
Yeah, good grandma. Let me address your comment there too, because I agree with you 150% on that. I feel if I would have had Don and Candace on my channel, right? And I noticed that they were intoxicated, I wouldn't have seen that as an opportunity to try to railroad them into saying something that they would regret later. I would responsibly, I would tell them, hey, you know what? Let's discuss this another time when you're 100%, because we're here to find your daughter. We're here to get to, and I want your mind clear. But because they had jumped to the conclusion already, because they were judging their character and they were judging their lifestyle, they were judging the way that they live and their upbringing, they thought, oh, okay, if they're drunk, well, then guess what? They're more likely to admit what we have already judged them for. But instead, what they did was they just ended up making us skeptical of their home life and what their home life was like, which is none of our business. It's absolutely none of our business. So the ethical thing to have done would have been, hey, let's just do this another time. And then I would have spoken to them privately, and I would have been as direct as possible and said, hey, if you want people to not judge you, because most of these people are idiots, I would have been like, if you want those people not to judge you, then come on here sober. Address the situation and do it with a clear mind. Because it's your kid that's missing. It's not my kid that's missing. It's your kid that's missing. That's how I would have handled that situation. Because my mindset is, where's Summer? And it's never deviated from that. My mindset is, where is Summer Wells? Not, I have nothing to go on, but I got a gut feeling that these people did something to her, and I'm just going to dig and dig and dig until I get to that. Not till I get to the truth, but until I get to the conclusion that I've already drawn without any facts, without any evidence.
Annie, did you have something to say?
Yeah. Well, he was talking about the grieving. We didn't really see any of the grieving at all.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I sympathized with them. My people were from Kentucky, and it's altogether different than most of these people that were commenting on the way they live and this and that. They're not like, you know, people that live in big cities and stuff like that. It's different. It's altogether different. And
It is. It's very different.
Yeah. You know, I grew up not wearing shoes, you know, and
Right.
when I was in school. But the thing too, you were talking about the group that went down there. I'm an old timer, but does anybody remember?
And real quick, let me make this point. Like, even earlier today, she was live, and then she had that Benny guy on her panel, right? Benny, okay? Benny is the guy that I showed in that clip, him coming down the hill from Don and Candace's home, and coming down the hill with a very blunt piece of wood, threatening to hit everyone with it, threatening to beat everyone with it. And he's a YouTuber. He's a YouTube creator. I've heard that he has felonies. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but whatever. Now, that kind of behavior doesn't help Don and Candace's image at all. If I was Don and Candace, I would be like, dude, you're not doing anything to help us. You need to get the hell out of here. Right? I mean, he's not doing anything to help. You know, his behavior is not something that I could ever get behind. Now, here's the thing is he didn't even threaten me. You think that I would ever have a guy like that on my panel? Do you think that I would ever have a guy like that on my panel? You can't talk to a guy like that. All they were doing was insulting each other. He was talking about how fat Molly Golightly was, and she was talking about how much of a meth head he was and how he was smoking meth first thing in the morning and blah, blah, blah. There's no way I would have a guy. There's no way I would be able to have a productive conversation with a guy like that. There's no way. After seeing this guy come down and threaten women with a blunt piece of wood, there's no way that I would ever even associate with a dude like that on YouTube. Now, personally, I don't know the guy, but there's no way that I would ever want to be associated with somebody who behaved like that. There's just no way. Don't wish any harm on him. I hope he has a great life, you know, but there is no way on the face of the earth that just because we have the thing in common where we don't respect what Molly Golightly does, that I'm going to use that to be something to just lump myself up with someone like that. But that's not even the point. If someone like that threatened me and behaved like that towards me, especially in person, I'm not going to have a guy like that on my panel, because that has nothing to do with finding Summer Wells. All that is Jerry Springer bullshit that's on my channel right now. It's drama. It's crap. It's garbage. It's bottom feeding shit. That's all it is. It's not content that would contribute to finding Summer Wells. In no way, shape, or form is it. There's no way I would have a guy like that on my panel, because it would do nothing good. It would contribute nothing productive to what I'm trying to get done. Nothing personal against him, but I'm here to raise awareness for Summer Wells. I'm here to make sure that people with common sense, even though sometimes we don't apply it, because I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people with common sense, and I fail to apply it quite a bit. So I'm here to relate to those people that are like me, like, hey, just maybe you're not seeing it, but if you open your eyes, you'll see these people are not trying to help. They're taking the focus away from what's important.
Remember Geraldo Rivera? People,
Yeah.
complained
He's
about
still
his
around.
actions, things like that. They didn't agree with what he was doing, and they criticized him. But every time he was on TV, everybody was watching because they wanted to know what he found out. So I think that's
Or they just wanted, another piece of the Geraldo show.
And
what was
how is that? How do you expect us to feel? How do you expect us to feel that you felt threatened by this person when you were taunting him? You were taunting him in person. He was in front of your face with a weapon, and you were taunting him. You did not feel threatened by that person then, and then you're going to bring him up on your panel? There's no way you're going to convince me that you feel threatened by this person. I mean, it's a joke, man. It's crazy. And like, how is this in any way productive to finding Summer? In any way, shape, or form?
Going on became a distant second to Geraldo just being Geraldo and being entertaining. You know?
Yeah, he was kind of elaborate on the way he described things. That was the entertaining part. But he was telling us things that police and law enforcement weren't telling us.
Well, but he also had sources, paid sources. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just YouTubers. None of us have paid sources in law enforcement. You know, we don't have cops that are leaking information to us. That's Geraldo had that.
She's gotten emails.
Yeah, I mean, to compare a YouTuber like her to Geraldo is ridiculous.
What they know.
It's not even a valid argument.
Because people need to know what's going on behind the scenes.
I mean, I know you can say, oh, if they're anonymous and we can't, like, you know, you can't, people, I mean, yeah, there is people that have lied about this case and put out false information on purpose, claim they're not really. So you do have to be super careful. And I don't know. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do, but there's just been too many red flags for me, I feel like, to change how
you know, we can't cherry pick which cases are okay to draw dangerous conclusions with and which ones aren't. I mean, you know, the same rules have to apply. I honestly, truly believe that you can't just be responsible and just start because nobody's considering. Somebody just made a comment. Oh well, you know, we didn't see them breathing. We haven't seen them breathing at all. Well, you have to also understand that this family has already been through a missing persons case before. So maybe they're just giving up hope. Maybe they've just given up. That's a red flag.
All of a sudden, because they went through a missing persons case before, that's a red flag to them. You know, I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Yes.
When law enforcement has already stated publicly that they don't believe that they're connected in any way, shape, or form? That's the one thing that they've actually stated. Yeah. No, they said that. They said it. We do not believe that these cases are related.
Yeah,
We have
it's
no
still,
reason to believe that.
it's
So
still,
the training professionals say this, and it's not good enough for the public.
it's still a red
I
flag.
mean, come
Like,
on.
the odds are like, it's a
How?
red flag that there's still, they might not be like, I don't know. Where does it say this? They might not be like directly related. Like, it might not have been the same person, but
There
I
are
mean,
some common denominators between the two.
I don't know.
The only common
It's not the biggest
denominator is
red
that
flag. I mean, I will
Candace
say
had a
that it's
sister
not
that went missing over 20 years ago. That's the only common denominator. So could it be that this family has been like, Jesus Christ, how often is this going to happen to us, and how bad is it going to hurt every time? So I'm just not going to let it hurt. Is that possible?
no, because it wasn't Dawn's like before.
Dawn didn't know her.
Yeah, but Dawn had to live with her sister all these years and have kids with her.
Well,
you don't think that affected him?
Didn't seem like a very close family.
I have a quick question.
I mean, they're still together, aren't they? After all of this, they're still together. You're going to tell me that they're not a close family?
No.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
As far as Dawn knowing Candace's sister.
Like this is a perfect example of people who listen to hearsay rather than actually using their eyes and looking at the evidence, looking at how things are. You're going to say this is not a close family. Now, granted, they're a dysfunctional one. I'll give you that, but they're definitely close because, I mean, they're still together. They still live together. They still do everything. I mean, and they back each other up in the public eye. You know what I mean? So don't sit here and tell me that this isn't a close family. You know, you're just making your own judgments based on the things that you're hearing.
Right. No, I'm not saying that he knew Candace's sister. What I'm saying is he's had to live with Candace all these years. And you're going to tell me that this had no effect on him, having to live with the sister of somebody who went missing, having to comfort her, or having to live with her, having to deal with it and drinking to numb the pain, or however she dealt with it. I don't live there. I don't know. But I'm guessing that whatever pain she has to carry, if you have a significant other, well, then you're carrying that pain too. Yes or no? I feel like all it takes is a little bit of actual empathy instead of just wanting to be the sleuths that figure it out. Putting that aside and actually having a little empathy for these victims and their families would probably change the game a lot.
For people like them.
Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
Because of how they
I won't have any empathy for them. Those were those words that somebody just said. I'm not going to have any empathy for them. And I asked, why not? So far, have you guys heard me accuse them of anything or attack them in any way, shape, or form? Seems like I'm just asking questions. Maybe I'm being selective with my hearing. But please, if you heard me say something that sounds like an attack towards anybody on this panel, please specify in the chat and I'll address it. And I'll do it fairly. I'll do it objectively.
We can have, I mean, now, will I feel bad if they didn't have something directly to do with Summer? Yes, but I mean,
but in the meantime, you're willing to take that chance.
They have brought a lot of this.
And your justification is because you don't approve of their lifestyle.
No, I don't approve because they treated their kid. They're obviously abusive people.
How do you know they're abusive people? Well, I know Dawn's abusive. Dawn's clearly abusive to Candace, and Candace is clearly abusive to him. Clearly, true, and that affects the kids. But that doesn't mean that they directly abuse their kids. They indirectly abuse their kids by being abusive to each other around the kids, and that makes them unfit parents. I will agree with you there for sure, without a doubt.
Well,
That shouldn't be
There-
happening around the kids. But
There are
but
people
that
that are
doesn't
coming-
mean that they actually hurt their kids directly, or they're even
Well,
capable of doing so.
That's what we're finding out now because the
No.
neighbors and people in town are talking.
And neighbors are talking. Of course, neighbors are talking. You don't think your neighbors talk? I mean, that's what neighbors do. They gossip. Doesn't mean it's always true.
But if I'm not
You know
seeing
what I
my
mean?
kid,
I mean, come
screaming
on.
So everybody's lying.
Well,
Is that
So
what you're
when
saying?
it comes to no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when it comes to cases like this, all of a sudden gossip is gospel. But when it comes to anybody else's personal lives in their neighborhood where people are gossiping, it's just gossip and rumors, right? I mean, come on. Again, you don't get to
So-
cherry pick when it's convenient, where gossip works and when it doesn't.
Glare. So do you think, okay, you think that she walked off the property?
Do I think what?
See,
What do you think happened?
my
Do you think
it
that
was
she walked off the
completely
property?
missed. And this is the first person that I was. Oh, look. And somebody called me a narcissist in the chat too. Kara B says, "Is the glarer a narcissist?" Yes, he is. I love it. No, but so of course, if I'm saying something, and if I'm saying something that someone doesn't like in this community for some reason, I'm always a narcissist. That's hilarious to me. But so the same person, this J. Marie person, she's kept quiet for a little while here, and then at this point, she wants to ask me what I think happened. She's trying to bait me into speculating, which you guys know me. I haven't done it here. See, this is what's always funny. Like when it comes to people like this, when it comes to people who follow channels like this, when it comes to people who run channels like this, mostly for the most part, again, I don't know Ziggy. I have not been subscribed to her channel. This is my first experience with her channel. So I can't, in fairness, say this about her. But in my experience with drama channels, right? In my experience with drama channels, what they normally do is these people are usually 99% of the time hypocritical. And so when someone comes on their panel, they try to prove that someone else is just as hypocritical as they are, but they can't handle it. And they feel attacked when they can't prove that someone else is just as hypocritical as they are, because the fact of the matter is I'm not. And I'm sticking to everything that I've been saying. I haven't deviated from my point. I haven't deviated from my opinions. And I haven't even deviated from my opinions on this channel as opposed to my own channel. I've been consistent. I've been consistent since 6 months ago.
Property?
My point is I have no idea what happened.
Exactly.
That's my point. I have no idea what happened. I'm not a trained professional. I'm not an investigator. I have
'Cause
no idea what happened.
I think that if that is true that she walked off the property, it would have been easier to find her. You know what I mean? Because Candace had said that she looked
It's
everywhere for her.
possible.
She drove around the roads that were around the area. So I think like she would have found her.
I think that's possible.
How long was she?
I think it's unlikely because they both said there's no way that she would have walked off. Both Don and Candace are adamant about the fact that they say that there's no way Summer walked off. She wouldn't have done
But
that.
I also don't think that it's.
So I'm not leaning,
I don't.
I'm not
think
leaning
that's
towards
really
that. But
just-
you also have to take. Sorry, you also have to take into consideration a couple of public places from the swimming hole before they went back to the house. Is it not possible that somebody could have followed them? Somebody could have seen Summer sitting in the car and followed them and targeted them? You don't think that could have happened? And I'm not saying I think it happened. I'm saying it's possible. And I think it's irresponsible
It
to
is
think that it's not
possible.
possible.
But I don't think that happened. I think if somebody did come to that back door and open it up and take her, or whatever Candace said, it has to be somebody that they know, because who else knows that they live up there and have a child in the basement at that time?
Okay.
I
agree.
Let me just
that
found something really funny.
it was likely someone.
Really fun. So in the chat from last night, I just saw Dobie Ween. Remember Dobie Ween from just a few minutes ago in here, right? This is the kind of logic that drama channels breed. Okay. So Dobie Ween says, the Glairer, please catch up on the story. Please catch up on the story. You are really taking this live in a direction that is not helpful. Ziggy, please get him off of here. So I'm not saying what they want to hear. Poor Dobie Ween, I'm just not living up to the narrative that she has got her feeble little mind set on. And it's an overload. Her head's going to explode. It's hilarious to me. Hold on. Somebody else said something here. Glare, do you think the cops were called numerous times for no reason? And what about Benny, who came to celebrate her being missing 6 months? I don't know anything about that. All I know is the behavior that I saw Benny display, which I don't agree with, and it's not somebody that I would want to associate with. I stand by that statement.
Who was familiar with the property? Absolutely. I would say that's absolutely a safe speculation. For sure. Somebody who absolutely was familiar with the property, most likely, if that's the case, if that's what happened, if Summer was abducted by somebody not in the family or not living on the property, I should say, then it was somebody who knew the property. That I'll say and agree with for sure.
Like one of Candace's,
Based on the footage of the property that Chris McDonough,
and there was a lot of comments.
It makes the most sense.
There was a lot of comments saying, now look how many people are on panel now. Look at this. So there was a lot of people saying that I did the same thing with the Sophie investigation, which I did defend myself here a little bit later. But no, I didn't. I didn't do any speculation when it came to if I did speculate, I speculated based on fact. I even took Michael's word with a grain of salt, even though he was on this channel many times. I took his word with a grain of salt. The only things that I ever speculated on were facts. I shared court documents, which were transcripts, depositions, and affidavits. I deal in facts, people.
But doesn't it make the most sense that maybe there was an accident on that property in this time frame that doesn't add up to anybody by these parents that are, by the way, no matter what anybody has to say, horrible, horrible people, horrible parents, all the way through from beginning to end. We can speculate or not speculate, but anybody with a brain knows that these kids were put in harm's way every day. Every single
You know what's
day.
funny is I didn't even have to make that point, Z. I didn't even have to make that point, which I find really funny. At no point last night did I even need to make that point to make a valid point, to have a valid argument, to basically shut down every single person that was on that panel. So, but it's so funny that it didn't even come to that. Like, it didn't even come to the fact that the expert behavioral experts, right? Behavioral experts and the fact that they passed polygraph tests didn't come into play. Didn't even come into the conversation because I didn't see the point. Because guess what? Even if I had made that point, right? They would have had some sort of excuse. I love it. They would have been like, well, lie detectors aren't admissible in court. Well, they're still used by law enforcement. They're still used by law enforcement for a reason. I mean, Steph, Mom, I can't disagree with you on that. I'm not disagreeing with anyone who says this. Drugs, drinking, dysfunction, children do not come first in their house and they will suffer. That's very true in my personal opinion. I actually share this opinion with you, which is, all I'm saying is it doesn't make them killers. It doesn't make them traffickers. It doesn't make them kidnappers. It doesn't, you don't get to say that because there's no evidence of that. A lot of people have dysfunctional households. A lot of people in this chat right now I guarantee you have dysfunctional households. Doesn't mean that you would be capable of doing something that terrible to your child. I mean, come on. There's no evidence of it. Oh, and I love how drama channels do that too. Somebody named Maggie May is clearly a moron because stupid is as stupid does. And by stupid does, I mean makes stupid comments. So Maggie May in her chat says, is the glarer Benny? So I guess either I just put on an act and I have a country accent and then I shapeshift my face because we both actually show our faces on our channels. I guess I'm Benny in disguise. Oh, why? Because I have a different opinion. I don't even share the same opinions he does.
Day.
Yeah.
Something happened on that hill, and I promise you that them parents know exactly what happened.
Okay.
See,
Guys, you know what I'm about to do right there. Do you hear that comment? Something happened on that hill, and I promise you, the parents know what happened. Okay? That right there is the epitome of irresponsible. And this is where this gets heated. Now, look how many people are on panel right now. All of a sudden, this savior of the drama channel comes riding up into the chat, right? This raspy voiced woman with a strong, powerful disposition shows up in this chat. And now all of a sudden, now everybody's going to get on her and then they're going to start saying that I'm attacking them, even though I'm the only one who happens to have a certain opinion that differs from literally everyone else's on the whole panel. But I'm attacking them. Watch. This is really, really interesting how these drama channels work. Like a pack of wolves.
I'm not going to agree with you there because, I mean, you can
Don't
say you
have to.
promised me because you believe it, but I'm not going to sit here and say, well, that's what makes the most sense because I don't know what makes the most sense. I wasn't there. Neither you.
That makes the most sense. Something happened to her on that hill.
How do you know?
That because it makes the most sense.
Because Candace said
How
she
does it
lost
make the
people
most
going
sense?
to the basement. So it
What-
happened on the hill.
Give me a
Law
timeline that
enforcement
led
said-
you to where.
Law enforcement has said and just
Give me a
said
timeline that led you to
yesterday
the hill.
that it
Here we go. Now she spews out pure bullshit. It's really, really funny. And I'm asking her, give me a timeline that led you to this. Show me, give me a pattern of where you got to this conclusion, please. Convince me of it. You know what I mean? Convince me of it, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
an abduction is not likely, and they ruled it out. They're leaving it.
You
If you
They
just
didn't
heard
rule
the
it out.
TBI
An
yesterday,
abduction is not likely, and they ruled it out, she says. Okay? And then somebody else chimes in here and backs her up. Really interesting what happens right here.
it was most likely she
They did
walked
not rule it out.
away or foul play. We're down to two things. Two.
Right, but they did not rule out.
That
They did
baby
not rule out
walked
an abduction.
away,
But also
and we didn't find her.
That's the kind of misinformation. They did not rule out that it was an abduction. They're not ruling anything out yet.
They absolutely said yesterday they do not think it's an abduction. They think it's foul play or she walked away.
Yep.
Period. They've said it over and over. I don't know where you've been.
They did not rule anything out. Show me where it's.
And as far
they
as
ruled
people
out an
respecting
abduction.
Don and Candace here on this channel, if you haven't been a member or a subscriber, you haven't seen the way that man, I won't even call him a man, comes on this channel and talks to people. Okay?
Oh, I've seen it. I'm not defending him as a person.
Also,
I'm not
let's
defending
think
him as
about
a
the
person.
fact that he most likely essayed his sisters along with 6 other people that have a case against him as we speak.
Yes.
Also hearsay.
It's
Not
not
saying that
hearsay,
it's not
it's
true.
fact. The fact.
How's it fact?
No,
Did you
that's
see it
the
happen?
file.
Did you see-
They have filed charges.
was he arrested? Is there a police report?
Yeah,
There is an
Like,
investigator, and
is
he
there
is
an arrest report?
They brought him
But-
over to the DA's office this week.
Child.
See, this is why it's dangerous for people to not follow facts. You're going based on hearsay.
You're
Constantly,
going
everything
based
you're
on
telling
what
me
his
so
sister
far
said.
is coming.
His
TBI
sister
didn't tell
came
you
up.
anything about anybody getting molested.
Okay, his
TBI didn't tell you
sister.
anything about anybody getting molested. His
Listen,
sister came forward and said
Actually,
so.
he did say
And I'm not
that he
saying
did
she's
it.
lying.
his sister came forward this week and said that the papers were sent over to the DA and that they were approved for warrants that are coming within the next week
Okay,
or two.
so when those warrants happen, then I'll agree with you. But until that happens, and like I said, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying I think it's irresponsible to jump to these conclusions before these warrants take place. And even still, it has to be proven in a court of law.
I think it's
Even
irresponsible for people not to talk about it and say what we think it is, because I think it's loud and clear. But we all
Oh,
have opinions. That's why we're here.
If you ever followed my channel, then you would know how much I advocate for child safety and against child trafficking and against child exploitation. You would know as much as I do. But I also realize how much of a serious accusation it is if you don't have evidence and you don't have proof.
I'd like to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead, Debbie.
I'm sorry, but first of all, this man sounds like he's interrogating the panel, and nobody seems to like it except for the fact they said he's entitled to his opinion. But it feels like an interrogation. And the only other thing I want to add is I don't think not one single person ever has said that Don or Candace murdered Summer. Those words have never come out of anybody's mouth.
Yeah, that didn't
Not
happen.
directly, no.
No.
Okay. Okay. Type of 1. If you heard me say that anyone on that panel said that Don and Candace murdered Summer Wells. Type of 1 if you heard me say that at any point during this conversation, that I accused anyone on that panel of saying that.
Not
They
directly,
didn't-
no. But
Nobody
every
voted that.
every one of you seem pretty adamant of trying to convince me that it did happen. Even though you haven't
I've
outright
never
said it.
said that.
No.
Even though you haven't
No,
outright
I do
said
not
it.
believe her. I don't think they purposely hurt her. No,
No.
You
Six
keep-
of
you
it
told
was
me
just
scenario.
telling you.
not
Speculating.
to not. I don't think they purposely hurt her to her disappearance. But yeah, I mean, I do think there was abuse.
I've heard that. I've heard people say that the reason why there's no evidence is because they didn't work alone. So is that not an implication that they're responsible? You're gonna tell me that didn't happen on this panel, not even
It
10
is
minutes ago.
possible. It is possible that they are responsible.
What difference does
It's
it make?
I'm not saying it's. I didn't say it wasn't possible. What I'm
It's
saying is it's
possible and-
irresponsible to assume it. Is what I'm saying, and that's what I'm being argued with about.
Why are you
But-
interrogating
So
us?
what are we arguing about here?
Am I
If I'm saying all I'm
Everyone
saying
has
is that it's
their own opinion.
irresponsible to assume.
I don't feel
Without
you're-
evidence, it's irresponsible to assume it.
I don't feel that you're interrogating us. I just feel that you're not informed as the rest of us that has been following the case from the beginning. That's all
I'm
Wow.
informed. I'm informed with the things that are stated as fact.
So this person just said, I haven't been following the case from the beginning. That she said that. She just said that out loud.
I do not listen to rumors, and I do not listen to hearsay. I do
Well,
not
I
like
think
to
you need to
cloud
replay the
my-
TBI video from yesterday, because I think that you didn't hear it. Maybe print out the transcript of what Leslie said.
So you're going to tell me that if I'm going to go look that up right now, you're going to tell me that they ruled out
Give it a
abduction,
try.
and that an abduction didn't happen according to the TBI.
Yes.
evidence of an abduction.
Yeah, actually, TBI and FBI came back out and told us the abduction and kidnapping was debunked. It did not
Debunked.
happen.
right? Didn't
Okay.
happen.
I've been
All right.
saying
Abduction
it
ruled
for
out.
very long
Debunked.
time.
Right?
I'm not
Listen
arguing
up.
with you. I'm just saying that the last time I heard them, but you're saying they came out yesterday and said this.
This is me giving a fair opportunity with a panel full, literally full of people, a chance to make me look like a complete and total idiot.
The TBI released a video on her 6-month anniversary to their Twitter, to their YouTube, and everywhere. And in it says that an abduction is not, there's no evidence of that. They are ruled it down to either she walked away or foul play.
Right now, I'm busting out
Other
my
than
laptop,
that,
loading
they
it up.
don't know. Other than that, there's nothing else it could be.
I have a
And it's-
question. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm
I
done.
don't
Go
know
ahead.
if we could really say it's been ruled out of the abduction. Has it? Did they actually say it's?
They said no evidence, and they
Yes,
said it
there
Right, there's no
repeatedly.
evidence, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
there
but
was
they
no
sheriff
evidence.
has said it.
it was debunked and ruled out. Did they say it was ruled out?
They've been saying for a
Sheriff
very
got Ronnie
long
Lawson
time.
did.
There's no evidence of that.
Because there's also no evidence that she walked away. There's also no either. So how is that?
Also, no evidence that she walked away or wandered off. No evidence that she was abducted. There's nothing to indicate they're not ruling out anything. People, is what I'm saying here. And what's funny is I didn't even read the Twitter thing that they are talking about. I was behind on that. I didn't even catch that update. But I was like, I know that they didn't rule that out because I would have heard about it, because I have a network of people that would have informed me of this. A network of people that would have informed me of this because I have been covering this case since June. That's how much faith I have in my people. That's how much faith I have in the community that I have built. A community that I can count on that does not settle for hearsay or rumors. A fact-driven community that I worked my ass off to build. And I'm proud of every single one of you. I'm grateful for every single one of you. And this is me having 150% faith in my community coming up right here, because I took the risk. I could have been made to look completely stupid. I had a whole panel of people sitting here telling me it was debunked. They saw it on the news yesterday in a news report that I missed. Okay?
Ruled out if that's
it was a play on words, definitely, because she said the very real possibility that she wandered off. But I do know they're saying that there's no evidence of an abduction. But really, I guess there's no evidence of anything else either. I don't know.
right. And that's all I'm saying. That
was
been the same as it's been
right there
this whole time, which is
at least Ziggy is trying to be. And some people are in the chat yelling at me, going, "Go read it, educate yourself, Glarer." Blah blah blah. Right? But at least Ziggy is keeping. She's like, well, they didn't rule anything out, really. And I was like, that's what I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. We don't have any answers yet.
Ruling anything out yet. We don't have any evidence of anything yet, or at least they're not giving us anything public.
It does seem like they're leaning to certain areas, like they're leaning towards that it's not an abduction. It definitely seems like that. And maybe they know something that proves that, or almost proves it to them. And maybe that's why they're saying that. Why
I don't remember them.
And bless
ever
her heart,
saying,
she's trying not to
nothing-
lose the respect of her panel either, of her listeners, because she knows that her listeners are leaning one way too, and she knows that she contributed to that as well. So I'm not blaming her. I don't blame her for where she's going right now, because she's kind of just trying to balance, the logic that she's forced to face right now on top of the way that she's been leading her audience this whole time as well. So I poor Ziggy
has been ruled out.
Cool.
I think
like
what I remember them saying is no one has been ruled out.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
that is correct.
I don't-
Nobody has been ruled out.
Yeah.
There's
I
still suspects.
I haven't heard nothing,
right.
nothing has been ruled out. I've only heard No one has
This
been
is
ruled
me
out.
on
But
my
I have a
laptop
question
trying
for
to
you,
look it up. Keep
Clara
talking.
guy. My question is like, what about past behaviors? You don't think past behaviors inform future behaviors or
Nope.
behaviors that have happened?
I'm saying you can't. I'm saying you can't. There's a reason why you can't convict somebody based on their
Well,
character.
I'm not trying to
Is
convict
because it's
anyone.
not evidence of anything.
Any of us are, because none of us are.
Well, you're convicting them in a court of public opinion, and that can be the more dangerous.
Excuse me. I think what we're doing is, excuse me. I think what we're doing is we're speculating. I don't know what you do on your channel. Do you just sit there and say?
I discuss facts, not hearsay or rumors. Hold on,
If you discuss only the facts, you would have 4-minute videos.
I'm gonna read.
So
I'm gonna read.
Their logic is if I only discuss the facts, I would only have 4-minute videos. Because there's not many facts on the case that law enforcement has released. Now, they're right about that. They're right about the fact that there's not that many facts on the case. So basically, I just got them to admit that they don't base their opinions on facts. They base their opinions on mostly rumors and speculation. Because if they're talking for hours and hours and hours on a subject, well, then if they're only discussing the facts, well, then they would only have 4 minutes of content, wouldn't they? But they're saying, well, if I only discuss the facts, then I would only have 4 minutes of content, which is pretty funny. But the thing is I have opinions on facts. You can have opinions based on facts. You can speculate on facts. That's called responsible speculation. There's a difference between responsible speculation and irresponsible speculation, because what you're doing is you're turning the mill, man. You're snowballing lies. You're turning misinformation into bigger and worse misinformation, more misinformation. You're snowballing rumors and you're snowballing hearsay. Okay. Now, when you hear me talk, I'm pretty repetitive on my channel, right? I'll say, this is just my opinion. Even though this is just my opinion, this is based on these facts that I'm presenting to you guys. Now, this is just my opinion. I always give those disclaimers when I say, but I say it's based on the facts that have been presented to me so far. I will always disclaim that. I will always say that. I always have, and I always will. That's why my content is not only 4 minutes long. But this is a foreign concept to people like this.
What you guys told me to read. Okay. We've used this is from the TBI. We've used plane, helicopters, divers, canines, and every resource available to us during search efforts, Earhart said. Despite the countless hours of tireless work, the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain unclear. At this time, there is no evidence that she was abducted. However, all avenues continue to be explored, and very real possibility that she wandered off and became lost in the mountains. And
all avenues continue to be explored.
So basically, they did not rule
out at the foul play part.
Anybody hear anybody say
they did not rule out an
something being
abduction.
debunked? Now, this is where it gets fun, people. This is where this gets really fun. Because now that I disprove them, then I'm attacking. I'm gaslighting. They use the word gaslighting. It's really funny. So now that I just showed them that they were totally full of shit, because there's nothing more fun than, the only thing that's more fun than showing somebody else that somebody's full of shit is showing somebody that themselves are full of shit to themselves. That is a blast to me. I love that shit. I'm a big fan of that. So as soon as I get the opportunity to show somebody that they are full of shit to themselves, that's way more rewarding. And I just did that. But what always ends up happening is I'm attacking them and I'm gaslighting them. It's really funny.
It clearly says, however, all avenues continue to be explored. There's no evidence that she was abducted. However, all avenues continue to be explored, including foul play. So they're lumping that up with they're lumping that with the foul play.
But
So
notice
for you to
they
say that they're
said
leaning
there's
towards
no
foul play
evidence
versus an
of
abduction,
abduction. And they've been saying that over and over and over again since pretty much the
and
beginning.
they've been saying that there's no evidence to anything else too. I
They
mean,
haven't
all of
said
this.
that.
They're
They've
saying
specifically said
they're
there's no
saying they're
evidence
exploring all
of abduction.
possibilities.
And so are
We're
we.
splitting hairs here. We're splitting hairs here. Like the fact is you're telling me, you just told me not even 5 minutes ago that the statement they ruled out the possibility of abduction, and it was debunked. Whoever the male was that chimed in said it was debunked, and I'm just read you the statement where it said no such thing. So what are we arguing about here?
We're not arguing.
We're not arguing. You're the ones making up an argument here.
Oh, it's me.
I'm merely saying that I'm merely making the point that it's irresponsible to jump to conclusions without.
You're saying that you're Don and
Anyone
Candace
heard me deviate from my
supporters is
point
what
in
you're
this
saying.
entire
Did
conversation?
I say that?
Has anybody heard me deviate from my point in this entire conversation yet? I am literally the only person that has been consistent in my argument this entire time. These people don't even believe their own argument because they don't know what to believe. Because when you have only rumors and speculation, only rumors and hearsay to base your opinions on, well, guess what? Guess what's going to happen? That happens. You're not going to have anything solid to base your opinions on. There's nothing solid there. The only thing that's ever solid in these cases, people, are fact. That's why my argument never deviated. Okay? That's why my argument always stayed the same the entire time. Right? So the only difference between me and them is my point was never ever deviated simply because it's based on facts, and I don't speculate on rumors or hearsay. I just won't do that. But that is proof that when you speculate on rumors and hearsay, well, you're not going to have anything solid, and you're going to change all the time. You're going to change your point. You're going to shift from one point to another. And when I corner you, when I basically show you that you've only painted yourself into a corner, well, then all of a sudden I'm holding the paintbrush and I painted you into that corner. Come on, people. Self-awareness. Accountability.
When did I say that?
That's what it sounds like to me.
When
Yeah,
did
got a million words.
so you're proving to me that you use selective hearing, because I did say many times
I
I'm
use
not
critical
saying-
thinking.
Did I not say
the critical
I'm
thinking?
not saying that Don and Candace had nothing to do with this. I'm saying I don't know. Neither do
Okay,
you.
so
Nobody knows anything. So it's
Sure don't.
irresponsible to jump to the conclusion that they did. That's all I'm saying. That's been my point consistently since this started.
Good point.
All right. I got a question for you, sir, if I can get a chance. How many advocate kids have you reached out and helped? How many can you count that you actually helped?
See, now it's
all I can do is speak up on issues.
Now it's let's get to the bottom of this Galera guy, because he just made us look stupid. Like, I didn't attack anybody. I didn't say anything about anybody on the panel. I didn't say anything directly about any particular person on that panel. But now it's like, who are you? Now they got to know who I am. Now they got to know, where does this guy come from and what has he done? Who are you to make sense on this panel? Who are you to be the only one to make valid points on this panel? How dare you?
On my channel, I can use my platform responsibly and give kids a voice generally. Not one specific kid. The most specific kid would be Sophie Long. That is the one specific case that I focus on most.
All right, another question. Have you done any training to become an advocate of this child?
No, that's why I don't directly interact with kids.
Okay, there's my point.
And I
What is
feel
your
strong.
point?
No, and I feel strongly the same way you do about that. I'm glad you said that because you're reinforcing my point. Because none of you guys or anybody else that's jumping to these conclusions over Don and Candace are either mental health professionals, but more importantly, law
How
enforcement
do you know what I do?
investigators. You're not law enforcement
Alright.
There's
investigators.
plenty of
Oh,
mental health.
I can tell that you're not a law enforcement investigator.
All right,
because
all right,
you
all
have
right.
selective hearing.
So here's the thing. I don't think anyone on here is saying that it's a good idea to go around accusing people of murder. I don't think that's what we're doing at all. We're speculating. And it sounds like you think that that's a bad idea. So maybe you shouldn't be up here talking then.
I think
Yeah,
it's
maybe you
dangerous
shouldn't.
if it's not done responsibly.
Get
I
outta
don't
That's all
think
I'm
here.
any
saying.
of us don't
You're
think
I think
messing
it's
with
dangerous
our
if it's
go
not
around
done
accusing people
responsibly.
of
irresponsible
murder, but
behavior.
we're
You don't
speculating.
speculate at all on your channel, LaGuerre? Which do you
Alright.
do you think that you don't
I
speculate?
do it responsibly.
I do it
I do it
responsibly.
Yeah, he
responsibly. And the
Yeah,
and
he
and
made
the
a
reason
good
why I
point
say
that
I
life is
do it
dangerous.
responsibly is because I go by facts. I go by things that are not considered hearsay or rumor.
Well, then
I
you
go by
must have had a
facts.
5-minute show on Summer Wells then, if you're dealing on facts.
That's right. So
We don't
here's
have
the-
very many facts.
You'd be surprised how long I can carry a show based on facts because I also
All
give
right.
my opinions on those facts. I don't give
Alright.
my opinions on opinions. I give my opinions on the facts, and then I speculate possibilities. That's what I do.
So I've been listening
So
to
you
this whole
speculate as
time.
well.
We
Yeah.
I
speculate
speculate
also,
on
and the
facts.
worst we've ever said is they
No.
might have guilty knowledge. Nobody's
Mhm.
ever said that either one of them did something to their daughter. Period.
No, someone straight
If
up
you
said
would listen
No.
something
and
happened to that girl on the hill. See, she took the coward's way out. She said something happened to that girl on the hill, and the parents know about it. What do you think? What comes with that? Let's explore that theory for a second. Okay, let's do that. Let's have some fun. Let's explore the theory that there was an accident on the Wells property, right? And the parents know about it, but they've been lying about it, and there's no trace of her whatsoever. There's none. No trace of her, no trace of what happened to her, no evidence, nothing, right? You're going to tell me that you're not implying, to say the least, you're not implying that they disposed of her in some way, shape, or form? Come on. That means they did something to their daughter. If you think that she got hurt on the property and she met her demise as a result, and there's no trace of any of this whatsoever, but they know about it, well, what does that say? What are you saying? You don't get to hide behind, hey, I didn't say that, because you are saying it. Just because you're not using the words doesn't mean that you're not saying it. You're accusing them of doing something horrible to their 5-year-old little girl. And you don't get to hide behind, oh, well, I didn't actually say it, though. You don't get to do that because you're saying it. And you're trying to convince other people of it. You're adamant about convincing other people of it. That's irresponsible, to say the least, if not completely reprehensible.
stop talking, maybe you would hear that.
Because of way
No,
of Don and Candace has
second
been
that.
yelling at back and forth and yelling at each other, threatening with the cops and all that on live feeds. You have not caught that. They are abusive. Okay.
No. I
Like
agree
this
with
guy
you.
wasn't listening.
They
They're
do have anger
abusive to each
issues.
other. They're abusive to each other, and they do have anger issues. But we don't know why the kids were taken away. Do you have a piece of paper saying so?
Well, you don't think that the kids witnessed that kind of behavior?
They were there with
No,
the
I agree
911
with you. I think they
You don't
do,
think
and
that's
I have said it.
abusive?
I said it more than
See,
once.
now it's
Did I
gone from
not? Did I not say more
now
than
it's
once? That I
gone
think
from
that
whether or not they had anything to do with Summer. Like, let's get back to how shitty Don and Candace are as parents. Let's get back to that. You know, like let's try to get back to something that you agree with us on, because you already made us look stupid, but we're not going to admit that you made us look stupid because
all you did was actually put us in a position to where we made ourselves look stupid, but we'll never admit that. So let's go back to the one thing that you've repeatedly agreed on, that they are abusive people and that their behavior towards each other is detrimental to their children. Yeah, I've already acknowledged that. I don't know how many times you want me to acknowledge that. I am agreeing with you on that. What else is there?
Said an awful lot of things more than once, so it's kind of hard to like keep it all straight with you. So
okay, so are we taking jabs at me? Or even
stop for a second? You've been talking. How do you know what we do on this channel or what we talk about on this channel? Because you said
I didn't say anything negative about this channel.
I'm still talking.
I have not.
You're accusing us of being irresponsible.
I didn't accuse anybody of anything.
Stop.
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
I said with her.
It sounds like you gaslight the whole situation.
Here we go. Now I'm gaslighting the whole situation. No, I did no such thing. I called out Molly Golightly, not by name, not yet. I do later. I do soon. But I called out Molly Golightly and her gang of Scooby Boobs. I called them out for what they did in Rogersville and what they do on their panels. That's what I called out. What she's doing right now is taking that as an attack, and all that tells me is that she does the same thing. At no point, I don't know what she does. I don't listen to the channel. I haven't been there. Never been in her chat. Not once. I never accused them of anything. Not once. But
actions were responsible. You're the one who got defensive.
Sure. Can you let me finish?
Yeah, I want to hear Jenny Penny real quick.
So
She
you
doesn't come
come
up
up
very
here,
often.
you said yourself that you don't come to this channel very often. You're not caught up on what Ziggy does or who comes on this channel or who talks about what or how she gets her information.
Right.
But you're coming up here telling us that we're being irresponsible, all of us.
say that.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Stop.
No, I didn't.
Listening because you've just been yapping your mouth.
Well, I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you say something that's just untrue about me.
Well,
Right.
you don't even know.
She wants it because I've just been yapping. But now all of a sudden that she's accusing me of something that didn't happen, she wants me to be quiet and just let her accuse me. Sorry, I don't do that. I have self-respect. I'm not going to let you do that. Now, if you want to speak the truth, sure, I'll let you talk because I let everybody else talk every time that they had a point. All I did was ask questions. And I asked them to elaborate on their points. That's what I did the entire time.
Something that's true about me. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
But anyway, he
I know what
also
you're
knows
talking
who
about.
we are too. So
I never once said that's what you were doing. I said I thought that was irresponsible to do so, and you got defensive. So I don't know. I still don't even know whether or not you do that or not.
I just want to respect, and this is respectful. I swear to God, I'm not taking a job. I swear. But then you get very, very involved in the Sophie Long case to the point that it kind of put you in the middle of some, like, really,
this is where we're going now. Oh, I love it.
No. I'm just.
This speaks volumes about you. But please go ahead.
Can I just say one thing real quick, and I'm gonna put it on mute. I feel like the glare that you gaslight a lot of this. You're gaslighting.
I was just thinking
this
that
whole
I'm
situation because you say one thing, then you say another, and you talk out of both sides of your mouth. It doesn't make any sense.
I haven't contradicted myself once. Not
only
once.
8 times.
You kind of have.
And I hope you leave this live up.
Why don't you let Ziggy finish what she was saying? This is her channel.
I hope they leave this live up because I planned on doing exactly what I'm doing right now.
If he doesn't want to, I didn't mean it as a job. I just thought that I really didn't, and I hope it's saying to stay out of or not to. I don't know. Sorry.
No, she could have. But she never made her point.
Or whatever.
I wish you would have.
I never
elaborated on her point.
Accuse anybody of anything. I never once accused anybody of anything. I simply stated what I thought was responsible speculation of what wasn't, and then people got defensive.
I guess I was going
And
there
so
because did you
because
speculate
people got
on
defensive,
the
I was the
case?
one gaslighting. I'm gaslighting you. Come on, that's come on.
You absolutely said without a
That's
doubt
what
that you know the people on her panel were not professionals. You have no idea.
Well,
Oh,
you
no,
just
no, I can
stated
tell.
it
You said,
outright.
"Oh,
are you a
you're
professional?
I can tell.
No, I'm
Blair?
saying
Professionals
the
don't.
safe assumption seeing is that you do selective hearing, and you didn't even
Professionals don't use
you didn't even
selective
know what the
hearing.
TBI
Everybody on
match
that panel
was
does.
said, and I disproved it. I disproved what you
Blair,
said.
are
the
you? Do you
TBI
have a
said,
professional
and
background? I'm just curious.
that's why.
Do you have a
No, I
professional
don't.
background too? Okay, so then you're
No.
just like everybody else, speculating just like
Well,
everybody else.
Except they
the
think
only difference
logically.
is well, I'm not going to say that because I don't know. I don't listen to this channel, but assuming since you've gotten so defensive, I'm going to say that the difference between you and I is that
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Z.
speculate responsibly.
And she doesn't, and that's the thing is I want to be clear. It's not that I've made this clear before. I don't have a problem with drama channels. I have a problem with drama channels acting like they're making some sort of a difference in the true crime community. I have a problem with that, but I don't think that she's actually doing that. I think that she embraces the fact that she's a drama channel and she needs drama for her channel. And that's what she's doing. She's just allowing this to happen. That's why she brought up 8, 9 different people on the panel to speak up against me, which I was perfectly fine with because I'm totally that guy. I'm like, bring it, everybody, bring it, bring as many as you got, because I know that I am not saying anything that is something that I don't feel with absolute conviction. So yeah, that's just how my brain works. That's how my heart works. So I wasn't worried about it in the slightest bit. But like I said, I don't have a problem with her. I mean, it was me who joined her panel knowing that it was a drama channel. And the reason why I knew it was a drama channel, because it's in her title. Her title says Ziggy Crama or something to the effect of Crama. So I'm like, okay, I got an idea of what I'm getting into here by joining this panel, but now again, I don't know what she's done in the past because I've never listened to her, but I called out Molly Golightly and not her because I know what Molly Golightly does on her channel. I've been familiar with Molly Golightly's channel for a long time. So I know what she does. And that's why I was calling her out specifically. But at no point did I call out anybody on this panel for doing anything that they didn't actually do while they were on panel, which was contradict themselves, which was, oh, no, I'm doing that. I mean, I already made my point. But yeah, and I don't think she is. I don't think Ziggy's like Molly at all. I don't see her begging for money. I mean, and straight up begging. That's what Molly does. She basically begs. She actually makes you feel like you owe it to her for the shit that she spews out, which is crazy to me. But Ziggy doesn't do that. Or at least not that I've seen. This is my first experience with her. And honestly, as far as her directly goes, it was a positive one. So I don't have anything negative to say about Ziggy directly. Not at all. I knew what I was getting into by getting onto a drama channel, and she doesn't make any bones about it being a drama channel. She's not pretending to be something that she's not. She's not up there saying, well, I'm trying to make a difference and give me a bunch of money because so I can go out there and investigate. She's not doing that. So I don't have an issue with Ziggy at all whatsoever. And I don't have a problem with Molly Golightly if she just stayed in her lane. Like, okay, I'm just a drama channel. Let's talk about the drama. Okay, cool. If that would have been simply the case, great. But what she did was she directly interfered with an investigation of a 5-year-old missing little girl. She directly interfered with it. And if her listeners are stupid enough to give her money and get ripped off, that's on them. You know, I'm not even faulting her for that. I'm saying she's a shitbag for it, but I'm not like trying to stop her from doing it. You know what I mean? I'm just up here contradicting what she's saying because what she's doing is interfering with a serious investigation and bringing closure to a 5-year-old little girl and what happened to a 5-year-old little girl, because a lot of us in this community really want justice. And most of us with common sense, all of us with common sense actually, believe that it should be left up to the trained professionals to actually do the investigating. Because if you're not a trained professional, you're interfering and you're muddying the waters and actually making an investigation harder. You're damaging an open investigation. And that's something that I'm going to speak up against no matter what.
Facts and not rumors.
So you were responsible.
You don't
Not
listen.
rumors.
Why are
The
you
Sophie
here?
Long case, the Sophie Long case, you feel like you were responsible in your speculations and stuff? That's why
I didn't make
brought it up.
I didn't jump
But
to
you
any
backed
conclusions on
the
Sophie
father,
Long
right?
case.
You really backed that father. So
I
you
read
speculated that he was
affidavits. I read affidavits, and I read transcripts from court, and I read Jesus Christ, why is the word escaping me right now?
You know what you did just say though?
Depositions.
You just said,
But you
Sorry,
said you don't
depositions.
watch this channel, but you have a lot
Yeah.
to say about this channel.
Yeah, so
That's
why are
funny.
you speculating?
No,
Isn't
I
that
haven't said
very
anything about
irresponsible
this
of you?
I haven't said anything about this channel. What have I said about this channel?
So who's
What have I
gaslighting
said?
You
who?
said you don't watch
I haven't
this
said anything about
channel,
this
but
channel.
you have a lot to say about.
Who's gaslighting who? If I never said one thing negative about that channel, yet I'm being accused of it, who's the one being gaslit here?
This channel is what I'm saying.
You seem to have a
No,
lot of
no.
speculations about what happens on
You're
the channel.
you're saying no, I haven't. I haven't speculated anything on the channel. I haven't said anything. I haven't accused
You
anybody of
told us
anything.
that we're irresponsible
I haven't said
for
anything.
accusing
No,
your
I didn't.
parents. You
No,
did
I
say
didn't.
that.
I said certain behavior was
You
irresponsible,
did
and
say
since
that we
you're
were being
saying
irresponsible
since
and
you're
that we
saying that
are
I'm saying
speculating
you're
about
irresponsible, that's you saying you're irresponsible, not me.
No,
You're
no, you did say that.
Gaslighter.
well.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
exactly.
exciting! I
have
never
to say
once
I'm
and never
really-
once accused anybody of anything.
Gaslighter.
Not once.
I have
You
to
got
say I'm really
defensive.
disappointed because
When
You
I
talk in
described
circles and you
behavior,
talk in circles is what you do. You talk in
when I
circles and then you just want to pick and choose what
when
you
I
feel
des-
is
when I
relevant. And then
described
when we call you out on it or
No.
somebody calls you out on it, you have oh well, I never said that and I never
when
said
I
this. You just
described
dance around
when I
shit. I'm sorry, I
described
don't mean to cuss.
when I
Sorry.
described behavior, when I described behavior, people got defensive. On this panel, got defensive. That's you saying that. That's you engaging in that behavior. If anything,
Well,
that's not me saying
because
it. That's you.
you said yourself.
I didn't
you
assume
don't-
anybody
Hang on a
did.
second. Because you said yourself that
I
you
got
don't listen.
on here.
Stop for
I
a
got on
second,
here hoping
sir.
people would agree with me.
Can you stop for a second?
I got on here hoping.
You talk a lot. Could you stop for a second?
Not only
I'm
that,
done.
he's
Go ahead.
offensive.
Yeah. So you said yourself that you don't listen to this channel. Please don't say anything yet. But yet you come up here before even finding out what happens on this channel that we're being irresponsible and that we're blaming the parents.
Never said that.
Down and listen to it. You did say that. So I
Never
want to
said
know
that.
what Ziggy had to say about this Sophie Long thing. What happened with that?
well, I
So
don't
there's
know.
8
I used
people.
to
You're
watch-
saying that I'm getting defensive, but there's 8
Do you
people.
see
that
how
have
you
to
don't
This
let
is the
anybody
first time I
talk
looked
though?
at my
You see how
phone,
you
by
don't
the
let
way,
anybody
since this
talk? I'm sorry, I don't mean to
conversation
talk
started, 'cause I was
over
like, holy
anybody,
shit,
but
there's that many people
you
on
seem
this
to talk
panel?
over anybody who has anything to say, and then you just want to run it like it's your channel, and you can't do that. If you want to come up here, you got to have respect, just like everybody else.
You're not even letting the host talk, for Christ's sake.
See, now
There's a lot.
now I'm just the bad guy. Now it's like, how is the Glare the bad guy? Let's make him the bad guy. We can't argue with his logic, so let's just make him out to be this abusive guy. I love that.
Not.
It's always
I'm just trying to
happening.
defend myself against 8 people.
The host is trying to talk.
Oh, I was just
Okay.
bringing up the Sophie Long case because I used to watch you. Like, so I'm disappointed that this has turned this way because I was kind of happy to see you in here.
Now,
to tell you the truth.
I gotta call Ziggy out
like,
on
oh.
that. I gotta call out Ziggy on that. Like, you know, she's like, well, I used to watch your channel and stuff, but you know, I'm so disappointed that it turned out this way. Are you though? Because you're the one who controls the StreamYard and you let 8 people up there. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. I'm not mad at you for it, but don't be full of shit. You know what I mean? Don't be full of shit. Like, you let 8 people up there and then you're going to sit there and tell me that you're disappointed that it came out that way as it was going on. You know, don't say that you're disappointed that it turned out that way. You're happy that it turned out that way because you run a drama channel and that's okay, but just say so. Just say so. It's all good. I'm not mad at nobody for it.
It's cool to see.
I was happy to be here at first.
I used to watch you.
Let her finish.
And when I asked about Sophie Long, I meant it seriously. I'm like, because it's been a while. Like, honestly, I know that there was some issues, like with something, like you got involved with something, I guess. But I didn't mean it disrespectfully.
What
really
did I get involved in? She still
never
answers
like,
this.
You guys didn't ever. You don't feel like you ever speculated over that case? Because some people are saying that you speculated that the girlfriend and the stepdad were doing something inappropriate.
No. There's proof. There's 911 calls that I play recordings of Jake abusing.
There's 911 calls of all the dysfunction too on Ben Hill Road. You know what I mean? So
okay. Now I'm not denying that. I never denied that I thought that Don and Candace were toxic people. I'm not denying that at all. I started this conversation saying that. So I don't know what you're trying to say here. What I'm saying is none of that makes them murderers.
True.
And
nobody said they were murderers. Nobody said they were murderers.
Nobody on your panel did.
Nobody says that.
No.
Not
I didn't
ever.
say anybody did. I didn't say anybody here did. I was actually talking. I started this conversation talking about
the purpose? What is your purpose? And I'm just curious. What is your point? What is the point that you're trying to get to that is so important?
I am explaining. So I started this conversation talking about what Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Betty and the other 2 people that went to Rogersville and why I thought that their behavior was responsible. Then people on this panel came to their defense. I didn't say anything about anybody on the channel.
But we're not Molly Golightly, and we're not the Bullhorn people, and those people haven't come on this channel, from what I understand.
You're the ones.
They're the ones who got defensive about it.
You understand? I didn't talk about you. You jumped to their defense, and then you assumed I was talking about you somehow. I never once talked about you guys. I was talking about Molly Golightly, Bullhorn Betty, and God knows what.
Well, this is when it starts to spin.
I love how they're like,
oh my God.
Now. This is going to keep going in circles. This is just going to keep going in circles. Well, it's because you refuse to acknowledge the facts. This is why people like this should not be following crime cases or even talking about them publicly, because this kind of thing happens. These are the type of people who have selective hearing. They hear what they want to hear. They make it about them, and then they don't listen to any logic whatsoever. Because at no point did I accuse any of these people of anything. Not once.
Hey, good night to everybody.
Good night, Debbie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ziggy.
Yeah, Mo. Sorry.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
This is all I want to say, and I'm going to get off.
Okay.
What I really want people to understand, one thing about you is I admire your channel.
Now, before I continue this, I'm going to play this lady. Her name is Mo. This is my first introduction to her, and she was the most calmest, coolest, and most logical person on that panel the entire time, including myself. She was the voice of reason that made the most sense. She made my points in the calmest, most rational, most respectful way. Because, I mean, you know me, man, I get a little heated, you know? But she has an energy about her. I was fascinated by this. This was a person who clearly had such an energy about her that she managed to quiet the entire panel, and everyone felt this almost a spiritual obligation to just let her speak and make her point. She had an aura about her, and it was fantastic. And I'm still marveling at it.
If you allow people to speak their opinions, no matter what, whether you agree or disagree, I find that golden in you. But at the end of the day, people have to really try to put themselves in people's places.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine if Candace and Don had nothing to do with Summer's death or disappearance.
Yeah.
Now, if I were Ziggy, I would get at what I'm about to say. Because if people were to say anything negative about my chat, I would get offended, because I have always said that a chat is a very accurate, usually a very accurate reflection of the channel's creator. Very much so. And I was appalled at the comments that I was seeing made about Mo in that chat. They were making fun of her. And simply because she was showing empathy. She was showing empathy, right? She was showing empathy, and she was not rushing to judgment on others. At no point did she do anything but express genuine empathy the entire time, while being very passionate about her opinion. That's a very rare quality to have. She was very good at it. This is something that I have to make a conscious effort to do. This is somebody that this seemed to come very naturally to. And I was looking at her chat and looking at the comments being made about her was disgusting to me. It was disgusting. Hold on, my mouse is frozen, guys. Give me a second. There we go.
They have people attacking them. Now, they're not the best people. Please don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say that. There's some real jacked up people. But if we all look at ourselves and we stop in the mirror, we're jacked up too.
No,
we're not the best people. We're not the best parents. There are no perfect parents. So just stop for a minute and reflect. I respect everybody's opinions, but just stop. It's not about what we think. It's about Summer. And people need to really recognize that. There are some people that are on this platform that are doing it just to make money. I don't care what they say. We've seen people. Now, if you want to look at Don and Candace history and what they've done, you look at the other people's histories and what they've done. You have to really be honest with yourself. You have to look at the other creators' histories and what they've done.
Okay, but the other people don't have a missing child.
Yeah, that's what's different.
That's not the point.
That's
not the point.
What's your name?
Please just let me finish. Please just let me finish.
I just wanted to tell you that I'm glad and I'm grateful.
My name is Mo, and I agree with you more than you know.
I was just trying to compliment her.
I wasn't able to explain it in such a rational way. I'm grateful to hear you do so. So thank you. Appreciate it.
I agree with you more than what you know.
Okay, so let her finish now.
I agree with you more than what you know.
I was.
I'm just gonna say that. But you have to, if you want to look at Candace and Don's history, you have to look at all these creators' histories and who they've been, and what you have all these other creators showing you who they were. You have people who have stole from strippers. You have all these different things happening, but yet everybody wants to ignore that. But nobody wants to ignore Candace and Don's history. You can't do that. That's not fair.
Creators' history.
That's not fair. If you want to ignore their history,
sorry.
If you want to ignore those, just stop for a second. I'm gonna be done in a minute. If you want to ignore these other creators' histories, then you need to ignore Candace and Don's history.
Yep.
But you can't do that and get to the truth, can you? The truth is right in the middle. Figure it out. It's about this little girl. It's not about us.
And if we do that to a creator, we're doxing them.
But at the end of the day,
right?
I hear you.
So why is it okay to do it to
So the point I was trying to make right there.
I agree with you.
The point I was trying to make right there was, if we do that to a creator, if we start picking apart a creator's life like that, we're doxing them. But for some reason, it's okay in this community to do that to a victim's family. Why? Why is that okay? You know what I mean? Like, there's something seriously wrong there. There's something very hypocritical there. There's a serious, dangerous double standard there. So that's, I mean, I feel bad because I was interrupting her, but it was important to make that. I felt it was important to make that point. But in all fairness, since I knew that I was going to stream this today, I probably should have waited to make that point till today. My problem is that a lot of the reason why I interrupt people is because if I make a point, if I have a point come into my head, I will forget it because I have ridiculous ADHD, and I will completely and totally forget that thought and jump onto another one way too quick. And then I don't want to lose that thought because I feel it's a very important thought to make.
I'm trying to tell you, I've agreed with you the whole time.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just reiterating what you're saying.
But I also agree with Ziggy being neutral. That's one thing I love about Ziggy. I can't wait for her to come on. I can't wait for her to come on so I can just hear her being neutral. I love that about her. Yeah, she doesn't get involved. I love it.
I'm trying not to. I have enough enemies.
And Ziggy, please don't change. Don't ever get involved.
Yeah.
If somebody's your friend or whatever, just leave that behind. I love the way your daughter thinks. A lot of people feel like she's disrespectful, but I feel like she's amazing because she has her own character.
Yeah.
She's not gonna let anybody make her feel any different. She has her own opinion. She got that from you.
Can I piggyback on you? Can I piggyback on that?
You can do whatever you need to do, baby.
Just like I'm sorry, my bad.
I love this thing. It's awesome.
But thank you, Mo. Go ahead, Infamous. Sorry. I don't know why it's echoing.
I don't know why it's echoing either. Hold on.
All right. So there's really not much more to that. I mean, that live is still up if you want to hear the rest of it. It's Ziggy's channel. If you're into drama channels, you know, subscribe to Ziggy. She seems like a cool person. I don't have anything negative to say about her. But I'm going to go ahead and jump off here, guys. But happy Friday. I love you guys very, very, very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.